remember His Grace Kumar Prabhu, Hemant Agarwal. I'm feeling very odd doing this because in our Saturday Satsang programs, we used to do this. We used to welcome everybody and start the program. And I'm now doing it instead of him. So it's a very extremely strange feeling for me. And thank you for all those people who came on time. Sorry we're running late. I believe there's a lot of traffic also outside. A few housekeeping announcements before we start. Shuru karne ke pehle. We're on the 4th floor of the building and there's a ladies' washroom just outside. The gents' washroom is outside, is on the 3rd floor. So anybody who wants to use that, and there is water outside this hall, and there's also water on the 3rd floor. We'll be starting the offerings now, and I requested Krishna Prabhu's family in between. We're trying to keep this as informal as possible. So it's a family getting together. मैंने उनसे रिक्वेस्ट किया कि in between any time they feel that they want to add something to someone, what someone else has spoken, please do come forward for doing that. And we are requesting the speakers to make their offerings about 5 odd minutes. Of course, there is no restriction on people like Krishna Prabhu and others. He was his counselor, but if people can respect the time of 5 to 6 minutes, then everybody will get a chance to speak. We are requesting that everybody who's here stays back for Prashadam. The Prashadam will start at 8 o'clock and that's on the 3rd floor. So, जो लोग पूरे 9 बजे तक रुक सकते हैं, हम रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे आप 9 बजे तक रुकिए. नहीं तो अगर people who cannot wait for any reason have to leave early, please do take Prashadam in honor of Krishna Kumar Prabhu and do that. And last but not the least, your mobile phones on silent please, just to honor the occasion. And there is construction going on in this building. So, बच्चों को please be careful that there are construction workers, construction going on. So please tell them to be vigilant. They should not really move around. So we'd like to start today's offerings by calling Krishna Gopal Prabhu. Is he here? Krishna Gopal Prabhu. We're waiting for Radha is coming soon. So Krishna Gopal Prabhu, you can start. And after that, Raspayan Prabhu, you can please be ready. You can, and what we suggest is we can, yes, please. So you want people to stand down because people cannot see, that's why we, so or we shift the table up. What do you suggest? So we shift the table up? It will take only a minute to do it. Okay. Probably can we shift the table up? Sure. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhu, for pointing that out. And I'm just repeating, it's like a family function. We try to keep it as informal as possible. So please, like he suggested, anything else, please do let us know. If anybody's feeling cold or hot also, please do let us know. Yes, Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. So, I knew Krishna Kumar Prabhu from last, I was not familiar at that time, 22 years back when I joined Gopal's Garden High School. He was helping us to get the space to run our school, flats basically, on rental basis, and he was playing a major role because he was staying in this Kandivali area. He and Arunachal were constantly meeting together. So I was just seeing him from far distant. But my association with Krishna Kumar Prabhu came, I became familiar as a person, Krishna Kumar Prabhu, during our CDD Seva. Congregational Development Department. We were together for 2-3 years approximately, and I came to know about him as a person. As they say, human values are not taught, but they need to be exemplified. So that I could see when I go down the memory lane, I can understand, my God, what a person he was. There were many times where we had meetings and there were differences of opinion, especially in CDT. And I always used to complain and criticize while traveling back to our destination, Borivali. And Krishna Kumar Prabhu always, after the meeting, we are together in the train. And he always told me that, Prabhu, please relax, These people are at least trying to preach, follow the instructions of Guru Maharaj. There might be some differences of opinion, but that's all right. Most important is that these people are trying at least. One time he told me that why not we start an outreach program? That was one of the agenda of CBD. I said, Prabhu, but starting an outreach program requires funds. We have to hire a hall. Before that, we have to print all the pamphlets, inviting new people, then hall, and then as per ISKCON standard prasadam. So it is not easy because we need Lakshmi. Hare Krishna. Am I audible? So I told him that Prabhu, it's not possible because we need funds. How will we start? And Krishna Kumar Prabhu said, Prabhu, if you are ready, then I can finance. I will put the money. I will arrange. Don't worry. I said, but Prabhu, so much of Lakshmi. He said, no, don't worry, you start. But I told him that I am already hooked up with Thursday program, then voice program and counseling meetings. So he said, but whenever you want to start, you tell me, I will fund the whole program. So that was his mood, Krishna Kumar Prabhu's mood, that he wanted to preach, follow the instruction of Guru Maharaj. He was ready to walk that extra mile, to obey or to follow the instruction of Guru Maharaj. Also, one more quality which I saw in him was, he was a very silent worker. Never came forward for a position. That although I am a junior to Krishna Kumar Prabhu, academically also he was an IITian. I am hardly done my diploma, but also a number of years in devotional service he has spent more. But still, I was acting as a single point contact spoke, and he was ready to accept me. Okay, you work, you guide us or lead. I am there with you. So, being a silent worker, never wanted to compete, never wanted to compare, never wanted to complain, and never wanted to criticize anyone. Never I heard from his mouth, because many times we were traveling, and it was me who was pointing out all the faults. But he never ever criticized, complained, compared himself with others, or wanted to compete, or wanted any post or position. So that was his mood. Also, he was coordinating with the counselors and the CDD. That was his seva. Those mentors, those mentees who needed to be shifted to counselor, or some of the devotees who were supposed to be appointed as a mentor. So he was coordinating with those seva. One time he called me that, Prabhu, can you come for Kandivali program? So I told him, Prabhu, why you are calling me? There are so many devotees, they can come and speak. He said, no, you please come. I told him, Prabhu, why don't you speak? You are a senior devotee and you are practicing Krishna Bhakti from last so many years. He said, no, Prabhu, I am happy to assist devotees. You please come. So that was his mood, always wanting devotees to, keeping devotees in front, and he was happily serving and assisting devotees. And lastly, I would like to share that how he was requesting me that, Prabhu, please accept this. One of the old devotee, he wanted to come into a counseling meeting. I said, no, Prabhu, I am already full, I was not excited because he was too old. But he told me that, oh, please accept because otherwise uska diksha ruk jayega. I said, really? I said, ठीक है, if you are requesting, then I will accept it. And then I said, ठीक है, Prabhu, I will accept it. So that was his mood, always assisting devotee. Without any title, a leader, a title doesn't make a leader. But his vision, his action, his commitment, his communication, his integrity. That's what makes a person a leader. And I could see all those things. Never complaining, never criticizing, never comparing himself with others, never competing, but silently working for the mission of Srila Prabhupada, for the mission of his Guru. So I would really pray to Krishna that let Krishna Kumar Prabhu get the shelter at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ji, and my condolences for the bereaved family. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Rasman Prabhu. And next is Hari Parshad Prabhu. You can be ready. And we are hoping that around 6:15 Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj will join us live on a call.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sri Prabhu, for giving me an opportunity. I was not scheduled to speak. I was in a dilemma because I'm such an insignificant person to speak about such a significant person here. But his kindness that is allowing me. I've been interacting with Krishna Kumar Prabhu lately, same in the CDD related things, and specifically when devotees used to move in from mentor group to the counselor group, and also prior to that, it was my good fortune to interact with him in the Janmashtami celebration of Kandivali program. And I must say that it's a great loss for not just Mumbai or the ISKCON Chowpatty, but it's a great loss for the ISKCON worldwide. Because it's very difficult to find a person who can do a management in a mode of goodness. Because whenever there is a management, there is always a passion comes and it becomes difficult to work. But he is the person I have never seen anyone else doing a management in a mode of goodness. So I think it's a great loss for ISKCON at large. And it's such a kind-hearted person, such a gentle and a genuine person who really cared for the devotees. And CDD is one of the branch of our ISKCON which is meant to care for the devotees in one sense. And I would say he did a perfect role. And Krishna's inconceivable plan that I'm still not able to fathom, that he is taken away definitely for a much more higher service for sure. And that's what I can just console myself with. So thank you, Krishna Kumar Prabhu, for whatever the late association that you have given me. I have learned a lot from you, and I sincerely pray for your onward journey and services in a loving embrace of Krishna. And my sincere condolences to the family here. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Rasman Prabhu. I'll request Hari Parshad Prabhu to speak, and Raghunath Charan Prabhu can be ready next.
Hare Krishna. So it was a few months ago that I came in contact with Krishna Kumar Prabhu, and that was because of our common contact with Amba Gaurang Prabhu. I was invited to give a program in the Saturday program, and that was the first time I met him. It is said in Shastra, Panchapadayana Maitri, you become friends with somebody even by walking 5 steps with them. So, just by staying in touch with him for some time, I felt a connection with him because every time there was discussion on some deep topics in Shastra, he would immediately become interested. And I had hoped that our friendship will continue for a long time. But sometimes it is difficult to predict what one has in his mind. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhishma Pitama is surprised at the fact that although Krishna is personally present on the planet, the 5 sons of the Pandavas are taken away, yet Parikshit Maharaj, the grandson, is protected. Bhishma Pitama is unable to come to terms with the fact, how is it that when Krishna's own feet are touching the planet, how is it that the very own sons of the Pandavas have been taken away from this earth? Finally, Bhishma comes to the conclusion, Sarvam Kala Kritam Manye Bhavatam Cha Yadapriyam. Krishna says, I can only come to one conclusion, that is Sarvam Kala Kritam Manye, that everything was arranged by providence and time. Whatever good moments we had, and also this moment of distress, this was arranged by providence and the time factor, which is in one sense not different from Krishna. There is a lot of difference between time and Krishna, because time primarily destroys, whereas Krishna also protects. The dear devotees, it is Krishna's desire in the form of time that his association with us was limited. I myself in my life have gone through the difficulty of losing my father at a young age, so I can understand the difficulty faced by the children and all the family members. My sincere condolences are with the immediate family members, Rajakumari Mataji, Arjun, Nandini and Radha, as well as the entire Agarwal family. And I hope and pray that they will be able to gain strength gradually and progress on the path of Krishna Bhakti. I sincerely pray to Krishna Kumar Prabhu that our friendship may continue and that I may be able to meet him sometime in the spiritual world. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hari Prabhu. Raghunath Prabhu will go next, and let's see if Dr. Samarth joins now, otherwise we'll call somebody else. So I'll take you back 2001, 2002. The school just started, Gopal Garden had just started. I had no inkling about the education field. So Krishna Kumar Prabhu was my go-to man for everything. We started with one rented apartment, we grew 2 rented apartments, 3, 4, 5. So every rented apartment, they knew that the school cannot move out of Siddharth Nagar where we were. So they were in a monopolistic situation. But Krishna Kumar Prabhu, with his native business skills, he would never let them increase the rent. He would always negotiate very hard. Some of the owners were income tax officers. Somehow he didn't let them increase it. And he taught me computers. We had small chairs like this, with bent knees. He would sit at the PC, big box PC. I would sit next to him dictating and he would type. It took me a long time to learn from him. He had an initiative of CDs. He used to have CDs of children's stories and songs. He would donate many of those to the school. Our domain name, Gopal's Garden. So he did that. Pushed him, please take some money for a change. After a lot of insistence, he said, okay, sent a bill from his firm, Vrinda Services. He sent a bill. We wanted to buy our first school bus. So we did all the research together. Then we finalized the school bus together. So many things, endless, so many things. Like a partner, just to bounce off ideas. Very calm, composed, but had a very sharp brain. It is Krishna's reciprocation that Nima Nitai are blessing him, that his services to the school, and we are having a memorial in Gopal Garden of his onward journey. Coming back to the recent events, think Daddy was to go to UK, and then some of you were to meet him in UK and spend time with him. Right? It was very heart-wrenching to see the children yearn for every minute to be with their father. Just in the ambulance, Radha didn't want to leave his hand, he was just holding on. And then he came, Arjun came right at the time when we had to take him to the cremation ground. It was very heart-wrenching to see that every moment they were wanting, let me be with my father, let me be with my father. So, we can assure you, Arjun, Radha, Nandini, is that we may not be blood relations, but we can be heart relations. So what your father, through his services, has left behind as a legacy is this family. What your mother has done by starting the school, what your grandmother has done through years of service is this family as a legacy. So please maintain that relation. This family will stand by you, not in words, but in action. Okay, remember that. We all need a safety net when we fall, and each of us will fall at some time. So remember, this safety net is waiting to hold you when you need it. Okay? And I thank Krishna Kumar Prabhu for being such a simple, humble person, having spent so much time together discussing so many topics. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, can you link up with Maharaj and just check when he is ready to join? Till that happens, can we request Shriha Sakha Prabhu, please come and give his offering. And after that, Paramhans Prabhu, could you be ready?
Hare Krishna. So I am still finding it very difficult to accept that Krishna Kumar Prabhu has left. I was very shocked when I heard it. But yeah, this is the arrangement of the Lord, so it's very little you can do once it's happened. So Krishna Kumar Prabhu, in one sense, is a perfect devotee because he was, as Prabhuji said, very intelligent from IIT Mumbai. He is an engineer from IIT Mumbai. But he never ever had the air. Engineers from IIT can have an air, but he never had that. He was, if you ask him also, he never even bring it up. Such a humble person, right from the beginning. Very humble, very sincere. I came to know him, I think, if I'm not mistaken, around 1996 was the first time I met him. And we were in the same counseling group with my father. And always a very sincere, cheerful, always cheerful. No matter what, Krishna Kumar Prabhu would always be very cheerful. He was a private person. We'll see, I suppose, as we interact, as more and more people speak about him, we'll probably come to know that very few people have very little to say about him. He's a very private and very quiet person, not a very outgoing person, but very cheerful, always smiling, always willing to serve. Like already a few examples have come up that whenever there was a service, he would always be willing to serve. And in his service, he was very mature. As a devotee, there are a lot of people who became devotees who were, who can have rough edges. But he was very mature in his dealings with Vaishnavas, his dealings with, even with ordinary people. Very mature and cheerful, mature, sincere. So many wonderful qualities he had as a Vaishnava. And one of the things, while his style of speech was a little gruff, he had a bit of a gruff voice. His voice was a bit gruff, but his laughter could light up a room. When he laughed, he would laugh in such a way that the whole room would light up like that. He had such a very powerful laughter. I'll tell one story personally. I don't exactly remember, but when we bought our first house, in Chembur, that time I'm not sure whether it was him or it was somebody else who helped us to get the loan. Punjab National Bank. We had taken a loan from Punjab National Bank, and Prabhuji also had some connects there. So he had helped us to get the loan. And that happened. And then one fine day, I had called up the bank. No, I think it was, I'm not sure, it was him or it was Sachinand Prabhu. But anyway, one fine day I had called up the bank because I wanted to make some early payment, something. So I called up the bank manager. And the bank manager, as he was talking to me, I heard someone laughing in the background. And I asked him, is there a Mr. Hemant Agarwal with you? He said, yeah, how do you know? So I said, yeah, I just recognized you from his laughter. His laughter was so unique and so powerful. Just by his laughter, I was able to recognize him. So whenever we used to meet over the years, of course, not so much interaction, as I said, private person, but not so much. But whenever we met, he would always have a smile, he would always embrace me. And he would, I'm sure my father will speak about it, he was like a second son to my father because I supported him in whatever service he was doing as a counselor. And the CDD also, a lot of people spoke about it. A devotee who, if you give him a service, you can be dead sure it will get done. He was like that kind of a person, very sincere and very reliable. As a devotee, very reliable, very wonderful. So, in so many ways, Krishna Kumar Prabhu was like a friend, he was like a God brother, and a very wonderful soul from whatever we have heard. It's most unfortunate that such a wonderful soul gets taken away from us at an early age, unexpected. Like what Krishna Prabhu mentioned, that it's a very hard-hitting lesson for us that we should value these gems of our congregation while they are still with us. Because after they go, the pain that they leave is so much. So while they are there, we should value them, we should spend time, we should serve them in whatever way we can. So my sincere condolences to his family and family of Vaishnavas that he has left behind, broken-hearted. But I pray that Shri Radha Gopinath would surely have given him shelter at their lotus feet. And I pray that the family gets the strength to tolerate this. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Shri Rama Prabhu. Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj is online, so we will listen to him first and then Paramahansa Prabhu can cover this. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. So it was with great shock and dismay that I heard about the tragic passing away of Krishna Kumar. It came as a bolt from the blue. I hadn't been in close touch with him for a long time, but nevertheless, this was not a kind of news that I was least expecting, considering that he was only, I suppose, in his mid-50s or early mid-50s. So it came as a big shock. And then my mind went back to the early days that I had been in touch with him. I first met him when I used to visit IIT for a while, and he was studying MSc, the integrated course in chemistry, and his classmate was Paramahansa Prabhu, and Nayan Ranjan also. And then they started attending the classes, and there were others also. other devotees who were there, Gauranga Prabhu, Ramesham Prabhu, and several other devotees. Biplav had been there from earlier also. So I have very, very fond memories of him from those days, going back to the early to mid 1990s. That's a long way back, almost 2 years now. And after he passed out of IIT, he took up a job in Bombay. He didn't go back to Delhi, but he took up a job here. And he was staying outside in the rented accommodation as far as I can remember. And then he was going to his work and then coming back home. It was around this time, maybe 2 or 3 years later, when he was still working, living as a bachelor in some Bangladesh accommodation in Bombay, that I was doing this project for Srila Prabhupada's centennial for college programs all over the country. And Krishna Prabhu very kindly gave me his whole flat in Goshenpur Towers in Dadar to stay in, because he and his family were shifting to Germany for a few years. And Madhu Prabhu and Sachisuta Prabhu and a few other devotees, I think, were staying with me. And at that time we had some of these young bachelors who were all from outside Bombay, but they had come here for employment and they were living there. So, one or the other, 3 or 4 of them, Krishna Kumar Prabhu was one of them. Then there was Sanjay Das, who became Sarvananda Prabhu. There was Rakesh Mahapatra, who became Rasacharya Prabhu, like that. And then also Srivas Pandit, who is now in the US. So they were all staying with us in this apartment for almost a year or 2. And it was a kind of win-win thing, because they got to live with devotees, they had prasadam, and then in the morning we would have some program, evening when they came back, it was such a nice, happy time together in those 1 or 2 years that we lived together. And they would go to work from the place where we lived together. And for our project, we needed a lot of service. So these devotees did a lot of service for us. Then when Krishna came back, we shifted to another place at the son of Kumar Prabhu's house nearby. And Krishna Kumar Prabhu continued to stay with us. I think 1 or 2 of them, the others may have left, I don't recall exactly. But Krishna Kumar Prabhu continued to stay. And I remember he did a lot of service for us, especially in data entry. In those days, we didn't have laptops, so we had desktop computers, and we managed to procure one. And he was doing a lot of service. Every day he would come back and immediately just sit on the desktop and start doing all the data entry of all the colleges and everything. And he would also sometimes do some help in the cooking and so many things like that. So it's not just my memories of him in IIT, but also these years that he lived with me and other devotees. And that's also 1996, 97, around that period. And then, of course, he got married and then he moved out. But I still continue to be in touch with him, not that regular basis, but still it was there. And he was such a jolly, pleasant personality to be with. He had an infectious laughter, a very spontaneous laughter, a very jolly kind of a person, ever willing to do services. Whenever we had services, I've never heard him saying no. And he always took things very jovially, from what I remember. And Then life goes on and I moved on to other places and other services and somehow lost contact, not only him, but many, many other devotees as well, including those who were staying with us at that time. And off and on, when I used to visit Bombay, we had some interactions. We used to meet at some program or at a temple. And it was always so wonderful catching up with him. And then there was a period when he was working with Vipla Patnaik and Sri Gauranga, they were doing some projects together, if I remember right. So occasionally I met him then. I also remember the time with Sri Gauranga to be working on that e-commerce project. And we would often interact and we would explain his issues that they were trying some animation films, if I remember right. And he was working really hard on that. And I don't think he had kind of resources that he was looking for with that initiative. And financially it was getting hard. But he still remained a very faithful devotee, and his jolly nature didn't abate despite the anxieties that I'm sure he must have been facing during those times in business. I was also in touch with Sri Gauranga Prabhu at that time, and the two of them were doing their e-commerce business. And I do remember some of the challenges they were facing professionally in doing that kind of work. So my heart really was very pained when I heard this news. And I have never met his children. I did meet Raja Kumari Mataji once in a while when I was in Pune or here and there, but it wasn't regular at all. And his three children, Radha, Nandini and Arjun, I must have seen them when they were really, really small. And if I see them today, I don't think I will recognize them. And but I want to tell them that you had a wonderful father. He was such a nice, well-loved person in the community, and I can't recall, any unpleasantness with him in the devotees. And so he was quite an example for everybody. So I pray that the Gopinath, they will kindly protect him for the will because of all the stuff that he has read. And even after my losing contact with him on a regular basis, I know that he was very much involved with the devotee community in that area, in Kandavali and Mira Road and those areas. I think he was very much involved. So he remained very faithful in his emotional beliefs and convictions and practices. He was never a complaining kind. He was a little closed in the sense he wouldn't often easily reveal any of his thoughts, his pain, whatever problems that he was undergoing. He was reserved in that sense. But he was always very, very helpful. Very helpful to anyone and everyone. That's also another thing I remember. So these were some of the personality traits about him, his devotion, his jovial nature, his willingness to help others. And so I think he will be sorely missed in our devotee community. And I still am not got over the shock. Someone so young, leaving at this age, and I will definitely pray for him and his family that Krishna can kindly protect them in all respects. I know that he had very close relationships with many, many devotees in that area, and I'm thankful for that. So I will pray to Sri Gopinath for showering the mercy upon him and his family as well. So I know many other devotees also have to speak. I just came in from a Gopashtami festival and I just come in and I've come in here, so sorry I won't stay long, I have to go for another program just now. But I'm certainly remembering him and I'm not going to forget him. He was such a good personality that I've known over the years. So His Grace Krishna Kumar Prabhu Ki Jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much Maharaj for making our time and coming on online. Hare Krishna. So while Paramahansa Prabhu comes up, Bhakti Maharaj talked about the e-commerce venture which was called Kembi.com. The company's name was Kembazar Online Private Limited. And I was just telling some devotees that I have known Krishna Kumar Prabhu for last maybe 25, 26 years. We did business together for 6 years. I used to meet him at the sabji walas. We had common sabji walas, right? So kabhi subah hum log sabji wale ke yahan mil jate the. He would come in his shorts and walking in shoes. And even after knowing him for so many years, I don't know him. So I'm feeling so sad and that I don't know this person who I know for so many years. So the Krishna Kumar Prabhu, I think he had a knack with numbers and computers, and that is why he was a hit in Kembi. And there were 3 of us who co-founded Kembazar Online, and he was one of them. So Maharaj referred to that. Would you please? Next. Oh, you can take it.
Hare Krishna. My special respects to the family of Krishna Kumar Prabhu, the children, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dhyana Mataji, Hare Krishna. I have mixed feelings. One feeling is I have lost a true friend so early. We have seen so many groups coming to Krishna consciousness together, and probably this is a group. We have seen the doctors group, we have seen the Bhakti Swami Maharaj group, Satchidananda Prabhu, and Yudhishthira Prabhu and everyone. And so many various groups have been inspiring in Krishna consciousness. So, unexpectedly, we have missed a very, very important member of one of the groups from IIT Mumbai. I may take a few minutes more. Kindly excuse me for that. So, the feeling of losing a person who has contributed so much to my life is a painful feeling. At the same time, it is a very, very positive feeling that I could get association of such a person. Like sometimes we read in our scriptures about the qualities of devotees. And when I look at the life of Krishna Kumar Prabhu, so in my connection, there are 3 stages to his life. The first, before coming to Krishna consciousness, when we were studying together. Second, practice of Krishna consciousness and completion of the course. And then after that, the third stage that Bhakti Swami Maharaj has described very well. How Krishna Kumar Prabhu was staying with him in Dadar and practiced Krishna consciousness. So that is the stage. But there is another stage that is after I changed my ashram. So I will be talking about these 3 stages. First thing, I admire him, a very gentle, witty, courteous, receptive, accommodative, jolly person. That's what I have seen him all along. We were together in the course in IIT Mumbai in the first year. I was very confused and I was very lost because I was coming from Hindi medium. And being from Hindi medium and coming to Mumbai, it was like you are in the desert and probably you are not understanding what people are talking about. And it was very difficult for me because I never heard an English lecture before, either in my college, earlier school or something. So I was really struggling in the initial days. And I was in the hostel. So he was my hostel mate also, but not so much in the first year, but from the second year onwards. In the first year, they allotted us rooms at the ground floor. Khadda. He was also Excelite, hostel number 6, IIT Mumbai, so he knows it. So that time, the first year was very fast paced and very difficult. And everyone was mocking around. And the second year, the first year, all the streams people are together. So you don't really know each other. So you are like a lot of the big lot. You are part of the big lot. But from the second year, we were allotted rooms on the second floor. And that wing where we were staying became famous as ISKCON wing. Because in that wing, there were 4 rooms right next to each other. 279, where Gauranga Prabhu was staying. 280 was Nayan Ranjan Prabhu. He was Dhruv Kumar Thakir. Some of you may be knowing in the earlier times. Then 281 was my room. Yeah. And 282 was Mr. Hemant Agrawal, Krishna Kumar Prabhu. We all were together. So, the second year onwards, the closeness increased because we knew, oh, we are in the same course, we are together. And he was like my guru in the material sense. Like in the hostel, they used some jargons and slang. And it was very hard for me. There are so many funny stories I can't tell you. How, the hostelites used to mock me. You know what jargons they use and slangs. It was really, I was taught always, getting mocked by everyone. So he was the person who was telling me, अरे इसका मतलब ये होता है. तूने बोला कि ऐसे मत बोल. वो तेरे को बोलते ये बोल. Don't say. So he was the person telling me, he was educating me, and he never mocked me. Although there were other devotee friends who had friends, they were also in a sort of banter or some sort of thing. But he was very courteous. He always looked very civilized, very much accommodated. And since he was in number 282, but still, what happens when you come to IIT, you come with a heavy head. The heavy head is that you are there to do something big. You have to find your path. You have to do something or whatnot. That air is there, and that's how you are grouped there. Each one, like there are my friends who is, Ramesh Ramanathan. He was in the same wing but the other side. Raghunandan Prabhu is also from that wing. So he also knows. We are there, we are friends, but we want to give challenge to each other. Each one of us gives a challenge to another, competition or challenge to each other. That's how we grow in that environment. So we were together, but then in the sense that we are always trying to uplift each other in the competitive sense. That's how we were. And we respected each other. he was the first person who also taught me how to groom. Because at the college there's a campus interview. So for interview, I was like from very plain background. I didn't know. Even today I don't have much dressing sense. But he was the person. Really, you can see like in the photographs and all that. And Dashwari Mataji also may be aware. He liked to have nice clothes. And that's how he was. And he said, at the campus interview, we all were appearing for a prime company at that time, Glaxo. Glaxo was one of the top companies. And all of us, kisko milega? So Krishna Kumar Prabhu got selected. Among, I think there were about 30 people who gave interviews. Out of that, he got selected. And it was one of the top jobs for our batch. So, it so happened that we used to study together, but then he was more inclined for organic chemistry. And that's how he joined Krishna Prabhu's counseling group, because he felt some closeness. I am joining some big university, Bombay University professor. So he was in organic chemistry. I was not into organic chemistry. I was into physical chemistry. So थोड़ा सा अलग था हमारा दोनों का study and interests were different. So there is something about that. A very nice thing I want to tell you about our hostel life, which is a very important thing. In the second year, when we were together, we discovered that the hostel canteen is not providing good food. What to do? So since he was my next, roommate, we were discussing together, and I was very uncomfortable. Like somehow that nature was, I had that nature, very uncomfortable. So I said, क्या करना चाहिए? बोलते चल सर्वे करते हैं, हॉस्टल का सर्वे करते हैं. चल. So we got together. So he was there with me. We made survey of all the hostels and then collected data. But then when the data was there, we presented. We said, "Tu kar present. I won't." So I said, "Okay, no problem." So I started a poster campaign in the hostel. I started writing down this hostel name, this is the food, this is the menu, this is the cost, and what is the problem with our hostel food. That's how we started the campaign. And in that campaign, it so happened, I never knew it is going to happen like that. So a group of seniors, they came to me. बोलते तू बहुत बात करता है, तू मैच चलाने दिखा. Like, I cannot run a mess like that. You have to stand for the election. There is to be hostile elections. So I said, okay, what is the problem? Let me stand for it. So I stood. There was another person who stood against me. He was also very popular. But somehow, because of that poster campaign, I got elected unopposed. And after I got elected unopposed, it so happened in the same year, when I was the mass counselor at my hostel, I came to Krishna consciousness. Of course, it's a separate story that is not connected to Krishna Kumar Prabhu. So I would limit my discussion to Krishna Kumar Prabhu. It so happened that Krishna Kumar Prabhu, after I became mass counselor in the second year, he became mass counselor in the third year. He became mass counselor. There's a very interesting story that happened. So in second year we came to Krishna consciousness, by mercy of Bhakti Swami Maharaj. So all of us were becoming very serious. And then when I was in third year, everyone said that you become general secretary. तुमने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है. And just like that. By that time I said no. I'm in Krishna consciousness. And then the major problem was prasad. Prasadam was a major problem, and we were struggling how to get Krishna Prasadam. So I said, no, I cannot become. So then I became maintenance counselor, not the general secretary. So Krishna Prabhu became mass counselor. So then myself, Gaurang Prabhu, and Krishna Prabhu, we conspired something. What we conspired, we said, "Arey," I said, you are a mass counselor, you have to play the shots. The conspiracy was that will eliminate onion garlic from the menu. We eliminate. And it happened that without anyone's knowledge, we took in confidence the hostel, the mess manager and the hostel manager, and told them, boss, अभी से बंद होना चाहिए। बोले ऐसे कैसे हो गया? So we said, no, करके दिखाओ तुम. We will teach you how to cook. And the Krishna Prabhu said, see, I am a mess counselor. Everybody is going to be angry at me. I said, no, but we are there with you. Don't worry. So he said, okay. So he was the person who told the cooks and everyone, कि आज से कांदा लहसुन नहीं लगेगा. And for 3 days, the food was without onion and garlic. But then, some of the cooks, they were not happy. Because उनका भी taste मिल रहा था. So they started cooking very bad food. Third day I said, such a bad food, how is it? So then the cooks, they told some other people, all of them gathered. There was one sick boy, was 6 feet 2 inches tall, muscular. Then he started charging me. What are you doing? So I said, Krishna Kumar Prabhu, let me handle it. So then I took the blame. I said, okay, no problem. So after 3 days again, onion garlic started. But then we said, no, prasadam hi khana hai. Once it started, so what we did, of course, Nayananjan Prabhu was there. He was very enthusiastic, and he arranged for utensils. And that time, it was so difficult to cook food in the hostel room. How to cook? You require something, some stove or something. You don't have gas stove. So then said the kerosene stove. Now we said we will not take this pump kerosene stove. That is very dangerous. It is not allowed. Then the wicks, earlier the stove with the wicks used to be there. Many of you may not know, but 90s. There used to be a stove with wicks and kerosene, it used to be there. So we got that, started cooking food. Prasadam, it was cooked in my room. So, Krishna Kumar Prabhu was an integral part of that. After the third year, when he was mass counselor, it was difficult for him to join us. But then he joined us, and because the mass counselor is not eating the food of the canteen, it's a big thing. So he said, let me wait for a few months. Then he joined us, and he took the responsibility of purchase because he came from Agarwal family. So naturally, that thing was there. And purchasing kerosene was a big thing. It was available to only the rationing shops. So you have to purchase in black. And he was the person who is purchasing it in black. Going out of the campus, finding out some vendor. He was doing it. He was bringing groceries and vegetables and everything. And after that, our course was 5-year course, and Gaurang Prabhu's course was 4-year course. So he left. His course was complete. Final year, myself, Nayananjan Prabhu, Krishna Kumar Prabhu, 3 were there. So responsibilities increased. Because Nayananjan Prabhu was half of the time not there in the hostel. He used to be in the temple. So myself and Krishna Kumar Prabhu, we used to be there. We used to cook together. And I used to cook. So he was doing the humble service, menial service of washing the pots every day. Purchases, Washing the pots he was doing. I was cooking, offering, whatever that I used to do. So we spent a very wonderful time together, memorable time in Krishna consciousness. That is the first part. Of course, there are many things more. He was the person who taught me how to read English novels. Jeffrey Archer was his favorite. Okay, and I won't tell you the names of the novels that we read together. But he was the first person who gave me the novel to read. And that's how I started picking up little bit of English. And he used to play good hockey. He was a hockey player. At badminton, he used to play. Hostel used to play badminton, TT, carom. He was good in carom. Then it so happened that after our course was over, it's like crossroads. There was more inclination to join Brahmachari ashram, and Krishna Prabhu was in a job. So our meeting was happening less frequently, and then later on, I was into some different services. We used to meet only during Sunday feast or festivals. However, I used to get the report how we got like in association of Bhakti Swami Maharaj. And later on, he got married. And when the news of marriage came to me, I said, "Arey, friends are not present in the marriage." But since we were brahmacharis, we could not be there for the marriage. And I could not get any time the chance, although there was a good possibility, we could never get chance to really meet the families. Later on, of course, there were many times we were interacting. So, when I changed my ashram, that time he was the first person who met me. He came and met me. It was Gaurang who told him that I am going to change my ashram. So he was there and he immediately told me that any help you need, any support you need, I am there for you. But it so happened that after that I went to Nasik, and he was in Mumbai, I was in Nasik, and I went to Bangalore, so there was no much connection. Some of the things which are to be told about, one thing is, he was a principle-driven person. Integrity, when you talk about integrity, it is something that I was surprised, the level of integrity he had. I knew that he was into trade, South Korean, Spanish trade, and he was dealing with that. So, one day I wanted to discuss with him and go into great detail. What is he doing? How is he doing? So then I just tried to know his mind. I said, you have a very good chance of getting nice commissions because you know exactly the rates and how the embassies they deal with it. So insider trading we call it. You have a lot of chance to make good money. And there were people who were making good money like that because they knew the trade secrets. He told me, I cannot leave integrity in my dealings. That is the only thing, the only virtue that I possess. And he was surprised that I am trying to talk about commissions and all that. I was just trying to know. And he said, no, I will never do that. Although I have great opportunity to do that. Of course, I also knew that he was into some businesses involved in between. So I am very thankful that initially he made those cartoon CDs and musics and all that. When I changed my ashram, I had kids, so he gifted me a set of CDs. Those CDs were the initial exposure of Krishna consciousness to my kids. I'm very thankful for that. There are many things we can talk about. After change of ashram, I was into my own struggle and finding home in my family and all those things. And there was not much time. And my kids were there in the Gopal's garden. Kumari Mataji, they still remember, they were in junior KG or first standard at that time, a long back, 2007, 2008. So I take a few lessons today. The first lesson that he has taught us, Kamala Tarajala, Jivana Talamala. We sing this beautiful bhajan, but we never realize what exactly it means. His passing away is a very, very heavy lesson that we cannot be in the comfort zone. And let us dedicate each and every day to practice of Krishna consciousness and prepare our consciousness to really surrender to Guru and Krishna. The second lesson I get that he succeeded as a friend. Whatever interaction I had with him, as a friend, he fulfilled his responsibility. But I don't think I have fulfilled my responsibility. I could do many things. I knew that in 2022, he was undergoing some medical condition. He was coming to Bhaktivedanta Hospital. And I never hoped what it is. And he was like a secretive person. Whenever I met him, he never revealed what exactly happening to him. And I was also maintained that dignity and respect. If he is allowing, then definitely. But then certain things he never shared. And he always said, I'm fine, I'm well, I'm nice. I think that I need to grow. I need to grow. It is required in some cases. So that is a lesson I am learning as a friend. The third thing is that I really admire him and I am very grateful to him. Because what I am today, he has contributed to that. The memories and the time that we spent together is what has shaped me. So I thank him for being such a wonderful companion in the early days of Krishna consciousness. We were always planning for a union of IITians together. Before COVID, there were some discussions, but suddenly after COVID came, there was no discussion. And then, again we were thinking about reorganizing, doing something. And, well, we'll never have a union, a complete union, because he will not be there for that union. Hare Krishna. I just want to extend my thankfulness to the family, and we are with you. Krishna Prabhu wanted to do something for nature. Nature is something, environment. And Biplav Ji and Shri Balaram Ji must be aware of it. So, if any one of you, Radha Ji, Nandini Ji, and Arjun Ji, any one of you want to do something for nature, and you want to have Something like that. You get any time idea, not now, after 3 years, 5 years or something. That is one thing, how we can actually express our gratitude to Krishna Kumar. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And thank you for taking us back to the hostel days of IIT Bombay, H6, and nice to hear how the chemistry kind of matched. And one thing which you were mentioning, that he was doing the purchases. So when we were running Lagni chemicals for 3 to 4 years, Krishna Kumar Prabhu was doing the purchases. And he was very particular about it. We used to buy essential oils, ये जो अत्तर में जो तेल जाता है, the oils which have very good fragrance. तो हम लोग ये खरीदते थे, and he would go all over India to source them. He would look at the gas chromatographic reports. So he was very particular and pakka in whatever he did. Very, very pakka and solid in that. And so he was handling. So I didn't know this purchase thing was there even in the hostel. Thank you. So we'd like now to call Rohinandan Prabhu, followed by Shidama Prabhu.
We came in contact with Krishna Prabhu, 3 count because of Jana Mataji, and as principal of Gopal Garden, I used to welcome him to his husband, and also regularly meeting him on all festivals when I was coming here. Gopal Garden that time, and his service attitude towards Gopal Garden. In fact, our website for 2 decades was on his domain. So we were wondering, when our load was little more on the website, so we were wondering, how do we tell him that we want to shift this to someone who is professional, because it requires a lot of time and a lot of feeling, and we don't expect that he should be doing this because he has been doing this voluntarily. So we were contemplating how to tell him. So we were discussing he should not feel bad. So we took a lot of time in discussing about that, but when we put the proposal forward, I'm okay to do the service, but I see that you need some professional. So he was attached to the service, but in the right mood, that what is best for the service. So that was very, very inspiring. And when I heard this news from Raghunath Prabhu, I could not really believe that something like this has happened. I recall just 3 weeks ago, we had a program at Thakur village when Radha Gopinath Prabhu had come, and his laughter was the same, and his attitude and his Vaishnava behavior exactly what I have been seeing for 2 decades, but I misjudged him. I was doing some different kind of a service. I was told by my seniors, and I interacted with him. And during that 2-3 interaction, for me the matter was serious, but he was, to make it lighter, he was laughing. So I thought, I am talking some serious matter, and is he taking it casually? But this was he. He was just, if I recall, 3 weeks ago, Like that, always whenever I have, now I recall how he always was joyful and he wanted to make things lighter, no matter how great the situation is. That was true. Also, I do not know why he thought I am a singer. I may have sung and he may have heard, but to that extent that he said, I want you to do a recording for my one CD. So I wanted to know what is the CD about. And when he explained to me, it was too much for me to digest what kind of a job it was for him to get those CD done. It was for me at that time, each he has hired good number of people and they were making drawing by hands. And it was little complicated for me to understand that something like this can happen. And for that, he said, you were giving that Ramayana class, no? In that you were talking about Sita ji and Hanuman ji gave some kind of solace to Sita ji that, so will you sing that song for me? So I said, I can, but I am not that kind of a singer that you are looking for. So he said, no, this is what I want, so please. I just heard him, but not once, not twice, not thrice. He kept on asking me, so Prabhu, when are you singing that? So finally, when I saw that he's serious about it, so I said, alright, let me just compose and then I'll come. And then we went to the studio. In that, with one rehearsal, I gave it. And I said, now you want me to do another one? The fellow said, no, we will take it, but I think this is fine. But when we were coming back to Gopal Garden from that studio, that was somewhere in Delhi, he with tears in his eyes, he said, Prabhu, that part of yours was a very, very, say, jovial, at the same time, very serious and very, very emotional in that particular moment. And then he gifted me that CD. Why? So in the auto, what he said, the last part when you sang, रोंगटे खड़े हो गए, और and he said with great emotion, with tears in his eyes. What was that part? Mata, dheeraj dhar, Mata. I do not know if the kids know this song. इक्ष्वाकु वंश के एक राजा दशरथ था उनका नाम, न्यायपरायण और पराक्रमी थे वे अयोध्या पर, 4 पुत्र हुए बलशाली. So it was a long thing. So that last part he remembered, and then I forgot about it, and then I heard that. So at this point of time I remember that no amount of assurance or availability to this family, and we can say Dheeraj Dhar Mata will be sufficient to say, but please count on us for any time if any of us can be of any use at any time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Krishna Kumar Prabhu ki Jai.
Thank you, Vinay. Shudhama. And next, I'd like to call upon Krishna Chandra Prabhu, please to take your offering.
As I think all of us have
expressed that we obviously none of us want to be in such a program for such a occasion. Extremely shocking. But at the same time, it is so glorifying to really remember interactions with Krishna Kumar Prabhu, and when Paramas Prabhu was making his offering. This is one very unique interaction we both had. I used to go to the IIT hostel to preach on my own. Tirsan Maharaj would come once, but he would tell me to go to to preach individually. So I used to Nayanarajan Prabhu, Nimai was a very good friend, a Gujarati, so we would go together. But once he was not there, and Krishna Kumar Prabhu was there. So we both went to we used to go to each hostel and give some book, spiritual scientist or something. So we went to one of the hostel, I don't remember which one, maybe it was, we used to usually go to H4. Is that hostel H4? So we used to go to H4, and so we went, both of us went to a room, and it was obviously none of them are devotees. So we went to a room and we found in the room a bean bag and a Bhagavad Gita. So we both got very excited, and Krishna Prabhu said, Prabhuji, this is very good. There's a devotee here, how come we don't know? So I said, let's wait. So we had to wait for almost 1.5 hours to really, and Krishna Prabhu was at that time sharing about different ways that he was trying to preach. Then when we came, and we were waiting, and that person who was occupying the room came, and he said that you are chanting and you are reading the Gita. So Krishna Kumar was doing all the talking. So he said, yeah, of course. So he said, I have serious insomnia, and I was told that if you want to get good sleep, you must read Gita. So then he was reading Gita, and he said, then later on he said, I will still not get sleep. But then somebody told him that if you don't get sleep reading Gita, then chant Hare Krishna, you will definitely sleep. So it was a very jovial interaction, but I think both of us realized that how different people use the Mahamantra and Gita. And then we had a little discussion. I said, so he said, Sridhar Prabhu, he was very sharp in, I still remember, very sharp in pointing it out. I said that even if you have the Mahamantra, you may not use it in the right sense, but use it, you have a jewel, he gave an example, you can use the jewel in something very, very mundane. I'm sure Kishori and you remember we visited your house at Malad. You had a small stint at Malad East, and we were at Malad West, and I very clearly remember it was it was the time of Ganpati, there was a lot of sound around, I still remember. So yes, it was an extremely meticulous host. Once I was interacting, and again it was something to do with essential oils. So I like perfumes, I like good smell. So I was interacting with him. I said, "What do you?" I said, "No, I go all over India and buy essential perfumes, the best ones, and I have a lot of test bottles." I said, so in my stupidity maybe, or in my friendship with him, I just say, "I love perfume. I like smell." So I remember the next day, the next Sunday, he gave me 5 best quality perfumes. I said, "Please use this." So again, this shows, how of very, very small things which make a big impact on your, very small but very big impact. So again, it was very close. So after many years, we were in a yatra in the same bus. And I think somebody said that I wanted to probe. I said, "Karte kya hua?" We were together in the same seat. I said, "Prabhu, what do you do?" I said, "Because it's just not know what you do. Last I heard you were So then he explained to me, so when he probed, he would explain to the whole thing that he was doing for the South Korean embassy. I could realize he was extremely sharp and very trustworthy, because the work that he was doing was very trustworthy. And the last I spoke to many months back, he was doing the same thing for the Spanish embassy, and in a much larger role with a much larger. He was taking care of not only India but multiple countries around. So, and my interaction increased in the last few years, that he took up the role of a service coordinator for this region for the mentorship, because I was serving as, I was doing some service in the same region. So there would be a lot of interactions of arranging, and again what came out was meticulously following up. If you don't respond, we'll remind you. You again don't respond. I said, oh, I can't, because giving a time is something which, so he would not say, get lost, who cares? I said, Prabhu, and then a phone call. So yes, always the great devotees are not the ones who give very, very bombastic, eloquent classes. They are not the ones who have very high positions. They are not the ones who have typical traits of usually seen leaders. But there are people like Krishna Kumar who do things, whatever they do, with utmost meticulousness, with utmost dignity and utmost dedication. So again, it is just impossible to really accept this fact. It is shocking. Of course, very auspicious, but to live in the month of Kartik, but still it's not something that we would want this to happen to anyone. And it's a lesson that we need to really take care of our devotees. Whatever it takes to take care of them, we should do that. And honestly, I personally feel I need to take care of them. Sorry for that. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Shila. Radha Sangi Mataji, can you make your offering next, please? Thank you.
Hare Krishna. I really never had any personal interactions. I may have had, but I don't remember. But when I'm reflecting now, I know that we had several meetings for different things. Certainly struck me when Prabhu Prabhu used the word private. And it just, then I felt that it's a rare trait. You don't find too many people who are private. I'm very shy and private. So that's why I think I appreciated him, and I think he appreciated me. So, most people would like to speak a lot. He was a very humble person. I do remember that when he started, I also can't socialize in corners. I always wait for somebody else to do that. But he's one who cannot do it. So the few times I'm there, if you start, then he will answer the question. Then there's a silence. Then you have to carry on. Then you have to talk. So I didn't realize how much I appreciated that. That he with all the intelligence he had, the background which I knew of, and that he really, because I did not know about his future activities in the last 10, 15 years, how involved he was. But it just shows that this is room for everyone, and the fact that there's such a gathering here, a very, very warm, very sweet person, not only someone who, so therefore you could trust him because you know that he will speak only what he means, not something which to add something or to project himself. So and of course whatever I knew through the family. First as Jana Mataji's son-in-law, Rasmai Mataji's husband, And then it did come to run that way, but not so much in a personal way. But I did appreciate him a lot. Very wonderful person. And every time I met him, I admired him. Of course, hearing him today was even more so. So, because Buzit was saying that because of the family, it was a tremendous loss. And of course, we are here to help in whatever we can. And yes, I think we just, I mean, the lessons that are mentioned here, probably one of them is that we need to also take care of our health. Not many people are, especially devotees, I think it's transcendental. But here we've seen that, these are mundane things. We feel that this is not, devotee has to be transcending to them. So in terms of, stress levels, attitude, etc., that's something which is now nothing that can be done. Anyway, but deepest condolences to the family, and we can't replace the loss, but of course it goes without saying that we are always there with you always.
Thank you, Krishna. After Radhaswami, Mataji Muralidhar will be making his offering.
Hare Krishna. I'm not used to speak like this, but my interactions with Krishna Kumar Prabhu started more when we took up the role of SC for this area, also as members of CDD. So the last time I interacted with Krishna Kumar Prabhu was around a week back, 27th of October to be precise, along with Baldev Prabhu, when we had to take some interview for the mentors, for selecting some mentors from this area. And like so many people mentioned, he was very meticulous. We would be in contact for all these interactions, whether it was for the mentors or for the transferring of mentees to the counselees. So in that way we interacted quite a lot. And as Rohini Nandan Prabhu was mentioning, when Radha Gopinath Prabhu, we requested him to give a class in the Saturday program, the planning started around 4 months back. That was in June when we had our all mentors meeting. From then onwards till 5th of October when Radha Gopinath Prabhu gave the class, we were continuously in contact with each other. Okay, Prabhu, Radha Gopinath Prabhu is coming. We have to arrange for his lunch, for his dinner prasadam. We have to arrange for the pickup. So in this way, our interactions were very quite often. And when I got the news, I called up Giri Govardhan Prabhu first to confirm whether it was the same person, and then I called Radhika Shakti. It was unbelievable. So yes, the loss is irreplaceable, but the memories will live on. His smiling face, his demeanor, his attitude, his sincerity and seriousness in Krishna consciousness. We all can take a lesson from it, how smiling he would be in all situations, how composed he was. So yes, he will be missed, but his memories, sweet memories will live on. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Radhaswami. After Muralidhar Prabhu, I'd like to request Vrishabhanu Prabhu please to make his offering. And Sridhama Prabhu was speaking about the samples of essential oil. I mean, to you it's perfumes, to us this was essential oils, and I realized the thirst for his children came to our house a few days ago, all the three, and their thirst to know about their father, what he did in terms of business. And I still have some of those oils which were purchased by Krishna Kumar Prabhu, samples, in fact some sandalwood oil also. And they took 2 bottles because it reminded them of their father. And also a copper glass
which he had procured, which we had exported to Germany. So I was just looking at their thirst to know more about their father. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I really wanted to be at a time when to offer my last homage to him, could not. I was preparing for the Mahatma Yatra. But my memory goes back to that 1993 when His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj was having this intercollegiate debate competition, and I was also going to that place in Dadar. And my first interaction with Krishna Kumar Prabhu was that I was introduced to him by Bhakti Maharaj as an IITian, along with Satyanarayan Prabhu. Satyanarayan Prabhu and Krishna Kumar Prabhu, both of them were introduced to me together. And when we were working with Bhakti Maharaj at Dadar Prabhadevi flat, and that's the time I spent a lot of time with him. And I found him to be a very, very knowledgeable person. He would apply all his knowledge to see how it can be done, how to organize this competition for him. And I had very good memory of that particular time. And then of course, later on, got news of him going to get married. And then one Vrindavan Yatra, we spent a lot of time together. And he was talking to me so much about the future, what to be done for the Krishna consciousness movement. In fact, he was telling that like time is so short, in 10 years' time, things are going to be much more worse as it will be from now onwards, and we should do something. So he actually was a visionary. He was telling me what should one do to preach. So obviously I was only a listener. I would always listen to and I would say something. And yes, after 10 years, then I see what he was talking about. It was actually happening in the society here. But he was thinking about it at that time, saying that after 10 years, it is so bad, we should do so many things. So like that, he was actually a visionary. Basically, you just think about what can be done in the future, and especially when now I shifted to Borivali once or twice I met him for some program. And then because he was here, he was also helping with the program happening in the Thakur village, where the program is now also taking place. So these are the fond memories I have. As Shridhama Saka Prabhu and others also said, he had that wonderful laughter. I also remember that. And suddenly you just laugh. And I just want to end with one thing, that I have always been grateful to him, because whenever there will be a counselor meeting of my father-in-law, my father-in-law planned in such a way that he'd come to our house, and then Krishna Kumar Prabhu would be always there. He would be there to pick him up from the house. And we were assured of the fact that because Krishna Kumar Prabhu said, not to worry, because he'll come and drop him. Once it was late night, around 11:30, and still he was there. He just dropped him home, and then of course he went. And not once, every time whenever there would be a meeting, so it would be Krishna Kumar Prabhu who would be always carrying my father-in-law for the constant meeting, and my father-in-law would always glorify him, speaking on how he would organize trips, yatras. He would be the person who would arrange the tickets, travel arrangements, everything for them. So whatever I know later on, wonderful qualities I take from my father-in-law, Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Vijaya Prabhu. We'd like now to request Vishwahanu Prabhu, and after that, Upendra Prabhu for your offering. Prabhuji, would you like to sit on a chair?
Whenever I think of Krishna Kumar Prabhu, his sweet, smiling countenance comes before my eyes, and I just can't believe that he's no longer with us. So, I first saw Krishna Kumar Prabhu and met him rather. That was in Dadar, which Bhakti-Rasamrita Maharaj has mentioned in his talk. So, he was serving Bhakti-Rasamrita Maharaj in a flat, I believe, I don't know whose flat it was, but Bhakti-Rasamrita Maharaj was living in Dadar at that point. At that time he was called Devamrita Prabhu, not Bhakti-Rasamrita Maharaj, but Krishna Kumar Prabhu was serving him with great intensity, great humility, and with lots of love. That's an outstanding quality which I have experienced all through my relationship with him. Whatever he did it with great intensity and with full conviction about whatever he was doing. So I first met him there, but some time later he joined my counseling group, and I don't mind sharing with you that he was a great asset to me in all the counseling meetings that were being held. He participated, put his heart and soul into whatever he did, and that's why he helped me greatly in conduct of the meetings, and he was not he was always involved himself totally in whatever he did. So I remember very vividly how he used to plan, or we planned many things, many outings also. As counseling group, we used to go and visit we have visited Pandharpur, we have visited other places as well. So he used to plan things meticulously and help everyone. He was very compassionate by nature. So he helped everyone in our group to come to a particular level. Whether it was someone who did not know English, knew only how to speak in Marathi, he would bond with him. There was somebody who knew English, he had a smattering of English, he would bond with him. He had the capacity to interact and bond with every individual. So that is a rare quality, and that is really Krishna consciousness. We want to see the hand of Lord in everything that we do, and Krishna Kumar Prabhu saw that. So organized many activities, all our meetings were planned by him. He would ask me, which date are you free? And then he would plan everything. So I could give full marks to him for all the activities that were done under the auspices of our counseling group. So it's a wonderful personality. So I remember very vividly times when there were difficulties in his life as well. Difficulties are there in everybody's life. But he took up the challenge with a smile on his face. He never let it be known to people that he is passing through a hard time. So that is a rare quality indeed, and he displayed it in full measure. So he transcended his problems very nicely. Never ever came under pressure, and always with a smiling face he went through life very wonderfully well. So when I first time heard that he was no more, it was like a shock to me. He was like my son to me, like Siddhama Kakka, very tender, very loving towards me, very much concerned. Sometimes our counseling meetings would go late into the night, and he would ensure that I reach home safely. Now I'm staying at Chembur, so he would ensure that I get a proper vehicle for going back home. So that quality of compassion and love is something that is very rarely encountered in today's stressful times, and Krishna Kumar Prabhu displayed it. If there was a Marathi speaking counseling, he would speak to him in Marathi and make him comfortable. So that is somebody more easy, comfortable in Hindi, he would speak to him in Hindi. So he could adapt himself to any situation in life and show his compassion. So a great asset in my life. In my own, I would give full marks to him for anything that we have achieved around the auspices of a council meeting. Any project that is dear to His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj became dear to him also. So he was the first one to volunteer, to give donations for any project or anything like that. And that was truly inspiring because we always need a role model, in our lives to follow. And that role model in our council group was Krishna Kumar Prabhu. He did a wonderful job of, and whatever problems we had in our group also, those were taken very easily in his stride by his compassionate nature. So he would sort out everything very nicely, and if there were some tensions at times, which there were, he would handle it very nicely. So Krishna Kumar Prabhu is probably, he was an IITian, and he never ever displayed his intelligence. He was very intelligent, he could grasp the problem very easily and come to solutions also very easily. But he never ever showed that he was different from others. He always integrated himself with all other councillors, and that was some wonderful quality that I experienced from him. So, as I said earlier, he was like a son to me, and I sorely miss his absence now that Krishna has taken him away for probably some better service. So I sincerely pray that he gets a wonderful resting place at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, and that his children acquit themselves very well in their life. He was always concerned about their careers. He was also concerned about their vacations. He ensured that we got the best out of whatever he could provide for them. So I think these are some traits which we can emulate and follow in our lives, because most of the time we either tend to be so Krishna conscious that we neglect our family. Sometimes we don't worry about the members of the family, how they are faring in life. But Krishna Kumar Prabhu was sensitive to everything, whether it was his family members or even members of our own council group. He would go into, there was a particular member, his name was Ramrao Naik. He couldn't speak English, he spoke in Marathi, but he bonded with him so well. It was amazing to me. An IIT and an intelligent person, he bonded with him so nicely that Ramrao Naik always felt that he is his brother. So that was the sort of a personality which Krishna Kumar Prabhu had. And I can go on speaking about him for a long time, but I'm sure there are others who would like to also express their thoughts on him. So I end here my talk. Thank you very much, Krishna Kumar Prabhu, for all that you have done in our life. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Vrishabhanu Prabhu. I'd also like to acknowledge some of Hemant's colleagues who are here. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry, I don't know whether you're from the Spanish trade or from the Korean trade. Spanish? So thank you for coming. In case you'd like to share something, you would be happy to hear. Thank you. So after Upendra Prabhu, I'd like to call on Madhavanand Prabhu to please make his offering. And just for you all, because you all may not know the system, so we are part of the Radha Gopinath temple, which is in ISKCON Chowpatty. Most of us here are connected there. And for people like us who are working in professionals, most people over here, we have a system of counselors and counselees. So Hemant's counselor was Vrishabhanu Prabhu, who just spoke, and he was part of that counseling group.
And he was also then coordinating many other activities of the mentors and the whole basic system to help each of us become a better version of ourselves in Krishna consciousness. Yes, Prabhu.
Somewhere around 1996, Devamrat Prabhu had convened a meeting. Now His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj. He had convened a meeting to discuss an idea of starting a business venture to support the temple. From that time onwards, my association with the Krishna Prabhu started. After this meeting, Krishna Prabhu with Sri Gaurang Prabhu, he started Ladini Chemicals, and I started a consultancy entity by name Jaipur Enterprises. In 1999, around 1999, we came together and we worked for 1.5 years for Ladini Chemicals. Then around that time only, somewhere around 96, 97, we became counselees of Krishna Prabhu, and our association continued for nearly 2.5 decades. Last year, since last 1 year, he gave me a couple of opportunities to speak in Kandivali program. And also recently we were interacting with at CDD level. So his sudden passing away was a great shock. I pray to Sri Radha Gopinath, Sri Gaurnitai to keep him under their shelter of their lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Next, after Madhavan Prabhu, I'd like to call on to Giri Govardhan Prabhu to please make his offering.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripasindhubhyo Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I stand here not as an intimate friend of Krishna Prabhu, but with a lot of gratitude, reverence, appreciation for his devotional service as my god brother. First of all, I would just read out what our Gurudev has written for him, and then I'll start for myself. It's a short message, but very deep. This is from Sri Radhanath Swami Maharaj. I am very grateful to Krishna Kumar Prabhu for his lifetime of devotion. I am feeling deep separation from him and praying to Sri Radha Gopinath Ji and Srila Prabhupada for their infinite mercy upon him. My deepest condolences to the family. Radhanath Swami. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 4.22.24, there are many qualities of a devotee which are mentioned. And one quality is called as Nirihaya. So there, Srila Prabhupada comments about that quality.
he says, I am quoting, another feature of a devotee is niriha, simple living. Niriha means gentle, meek or simple. A devotee should not live very gorgeously and imitate a materialistic person. So Krishna Kumar Prabhu was a living example of this. He was very, very simple, very meek and humble, and I'm so grateful to so many devotees who have brought out their memories in a way that Krishna Kumar Prabhu's wonderful qualities, the mine of wonderful qualities are highlighted. Just 2 Sundays back, on 27th of October, we had our monthly Nagar Sankirtan, where devotees from Thakur village, they come together and go around Thakur village, few gardens, and chant the holy names early in the morning. And this time, 27th of October, he joined us just outside the garden in front of Thakur Mall, very smilingly, happily. He always joined that Nagar Sankirtan unless he was out of station. And somehow, this Nagar Sankirtan was extremely special. And those devotees who have attended, they might testify this. It was so enthusiastic and spiritually surcharged for everyone. Those who were part of the Nagar Sankirtan and those who are outside the Nagar Sankirtan. We had not great singers, simple singers, but somehow there was some lot of spiritual energy. And there was an RSS group who was doing some exercises and talking, and they stopped their work. We are going on the street and they start clapping and chanting with us. Then we go further. There is a yoga group who are sitting in a circle on mats. They stop their activity, they chant with us. We are not going to that. There is a laughter group. They also stop. So it was such a surcharged Nagar Sankirtan. And that was the last Nagar Sankirtan which I attended. And I feel Krishna had organized it like that to just give him a befitting farewell. Looks like that. Because that's what Krishna Kumar Prabhu actually represented for the Thakur village also. I did not know him so well, I just knew him as my godbrother. But only when I shifted to Thakur village, then immediately as soon as the devotees organized that, let's have some program in the Thakur village itself. And immediately he and Sri Gauranga Prabhu and Priti Gauranga Mataji, and they became the guardians of the whole program. They became the guardians of all the devotees. And he was such a guardian. He would always remind most of our strategic meetings for Janmashtami or any other program happened in his house. And he would send out a message, on this day we are meeting, and we would show thumbs up and he would say, Khichdi bhi milega. And he would personally cook the khichdi. Wonderful. We would always be looking forward for that khichdi. So after hearing so many devotees and also seeing him very closely for the last several years, one great quality about him is that he was very well accomplished in his job, business. He was an IIT, very intelligent person. And in spite of all this, and he was like practically the guardian, he and Sri Gauranga were still guardian of the whole program. And never he came in front to take the credits. There was no limelight required for him. Always in the background. That was an amazing quality which he had. So we are here, definitely living his absence amongst us. And naturally, we have great feeling of loss, particularly family, 3 small children. The loss is unthinkable, irreparable. However, in spite of that, as Krishna was etc., incidental arrangement, we don't know what Krishna has. It's always Krishna does whatever is perfect. But even though we grieve the loss, we are also at the same time very happy about his glorious, successful devotional life. I am quoting Srila Prabhupada again in Chaitanya Charitamrita, one of the purports. Srila Prabhupada says about how a devotee should be to attract Krishna's attention. So Prabhupada is talking, Krishna wants to see that a devotee is sincere and serious and he does not have ulterior motives. And our Krishna Kumar Prabhu very amply exhibited all the 3 qualities, all the time. So even though we are unhappy that he is not here, we are also happy that he exemplified these 3 qualities. And because of that, he has definitely attracted Krishna's attention and Krishna has given him shelter at his lotus feet. I'm forever grateful to him for being such a wonderful example in my life. And I extend my condolences to the whole family. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maranatha Prabhu. And after Giri Govardhan Prabhu, we'd like to call on Prakashananda Prabhu to please be ready for the offering.
Hare Krishna. So a lot of whatever I was meditating upon about Krishna Kumar Prabhu has been elaborately described by various devotees. But I would like to touch up certain points like in the early years, which was mid-90s and early 90s, Krishna Kumar Prabhu was a regular visitor of the Khar Satsang program on Fridays at the Khar Center. And most of the devotees know that previously the Khar Center was a program where all of the congregational devotees would gather and they would attend. And then gradually as time passed, His Holiness Raghunath Maharaj reduced coming over. So everybody, reduced coming because of other services, right? There was a science program, so the science group used to go to that science program, stopped coming to Friday. The Borivali programs came to Borivali, stopped coming to Friday because of commuting, traffic and all that. But Krishna Kumar Prabhu was the last person to reduce coming or stop coming to the Friday program. He had a lot of attachment to Friday program and he would, I remember once he telling me that he still wants to come to Friday program more and more. And he said that you please keep inviting me for any more programs that you have. So one point that I want to mention here is when COVID happened, this was in March of 2020, and then suddenly everything stopped. So then preaching started happening on digital platforms. And it was at that time that Krishna Kumar Prabhu came for, everybody knew about Zoom, Zoom was on. So we had to take a decision about doing Friday program on Zoom. And that is when Krishna Kumar Prabhu came forward and told me that, he has a paid Zoom account and he wants to have this account used for preaching. So he said, let's use it for Friday program. I said, okay, fine. So for 3 years or more, Krishna Kumar Prabhu was having a full subscribed Zoom account which we were using for his counseling meetings, Friday program, any other programs, and even Sahadev Prabhu and Mahaprabhu Prabhu's counseling meetings. And he was paying for it. And then once I asked him, Prabhuji, is this your office account or is this your personal account? He said, no, this is my personal account. I said, Prabhuji, why are you paying for it when we are using it actually? He said, no, this is my service, I use it for something else, so continue. And then this year, last year once he came back to me and he said,
okay, I may want to have to discontinue this account because I am not using it. I said, Prabhuji, whenever you discontinue it, let me know because I will, I will buy my account and we will continue using it for preaching. And he never came back. And I said, Prabhu, what happened? He said, I went to the Zoom guys to discontinue it and I got a chance to extend it. They extended it free. That was a kind of negotiator he was. And this year finally he said, okay, all that negotiation is over, Giri Govardhan, now they will shut that account. I said, never mind Prabhuji, the moment they shut that account, we will open a new account and we'll continue the programs. So this year he was using the newly subscribed account, but for the last 5 years we were using his account for various preaching programs. So that was his attachment to preaching, that was his attachment to congregational services, Friday program and all that. And I am fortunate to be associated with him in a manner that when he was with the Korean consulate, when he was with the Spanish consulate, we were friends, we used to chat. And he used to call me to his office. And we used to sit in his office and chat. We used to talk a lot. Because he was one person whom I had the confidence that he will not misunderstand. He will not, he will keep confidentiality. He will not misunderstand. And we know that, things will not go wrong if we share with him. So he had that confidence with me. And he was at the... So then when he came to the Spanish office, he called me over. His office was at Lower Parel. And he called me over and he said, Giri Govardhan, I want to shift my office from Lower Parel to BKC. Can you help? Because he knew that I had a past connection with real estate transactions and all that. I said, sure, I'll certainly help. But that was not my core role at that time. So I connected with another person who was also a devotee to take help of how we could transact the deal. And Krishna Kumar Prabhu was the senior most person in the India office at that time. And he was talking to the Spanish office in Spain. So the team came, we did the transaction. He was so sharp at the way he was negotiating. He was so sharp at what he wanted. And the deal was done 5 years ago. And now in November, those 5 years are to lapse. So last month he called me and he said, you remember that this office transaction? So he's sitting in that office right now and he's like, so you remember this office transaction, the 5-year lease has lapsed, so do you want to renew it? I said, of course I will help you renew it. And one important point that is important to note, he called me and he told me, please connect with the other person whom you had connected with. I said, okay, but this is for a renewal. I don't know if he will be interested. He said, no, let him say that he will not be interested. We are devotees. We should not short circuit people in their professional services. That was his standing instruction. So I said, yes, Prabhu, I will certainly connect with him. I connected with that gentleman and that gentleman said that I will not be interested in taking this deal forward, you all can do it yourself. So I went back to Krishna Kumar Prabhu and reported to him that that gentleman is not interested because there is nothing in it for him to make money. So Krishna Kumar Prabhu said, then we are fine. And what happened is, just few days before he left, this is like the last week of October, so this deal was supposed to happen, so he told me, officially write me an email, we will take it forward. And I said, yes, and I will come and discuss with you about how we have to take this forward. And he said, okay, next week you come. So then I received a call on, say, a Monday afternoon something. He said, Giri Govardhan, you didn't come? I said, was I supposed to come today? I mean, it was not confirmed. Okay, let's meet tomorrow at 12. I said, okay, we will meet tomorrow at 12. And next day morning he calls me and says, there is painting happening in my office, so all my office colleagues have left because there is a lot of dust around. I am only sitting in the office waiting for you, so please come and meet. Are you coming? I said, yes, I am certainly coming. And that was the last time I met him personally. I'm glad I met him. This was few days before he left. And like I was mentioning, he used to just chat anything and everything, and we were, so this deal discussion was a 2-minute thing. He was very clear. ये agreement है, उसको ये rate बोलना है, मैंने landlord से बात कर ली है, you draft the email in such a manner, this has to be done. It was literally a 2-minute discussion. We were very clear of how we have to take it forward. But besides that 1 hour, we were talking about Yatra, the forthcoming Mayapur Yatra. I told him, why is he not coming to Mayapur Yatra? So he was so excited to tell me that he has planned to, spend the Diwali with his children in London. He said that Arjun will be flying into London from Finland, and he is going to London, and he will spend time with his children and his cousin sister and all that. He was so excited about that. And one very funny thing, he said that actually the president of Spain is coming down to Delhi to meet Narendra Modi, and his Spain office had told him to visit Delhi to be a part of that meeting. And he was laughing, like people were talking about his laugh. He was laughing. He's like, I have told them I am going on vacation. So I will be going to London on vacation, and the state consulate will come to Delhi. Had I not gone on vacation, I had to go to Delhi to meet him. Because he was the senior-most person in his office in this country, and also perhaps managing Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, I guess. So that was about him. And the last incident, beside what Madhavana Prabhu was mentioning, the Sunday morning team whom he might have met, on Friday he writes to me. I was just going through that chat right now. He writes to me, Giri Govardhan, is that agreement finalized? And I said, I will do it because I don't have clarity of how to comprehend what we have to put. So I will do it. He said, when will you do it? I said, okay, I will do it tomorrow, but I will speak to you before figuring out what exactly to write. And then I wrote to him what I wanted to write. He said, okay, do that. And then I did the thing. And Monday morning I called him, and he missed my call. He would never miss calls. But even if he missed a call, he would call back in 1 or 2 minutes. And then I messaged him. I said, Prabhuji, I am waiting to speak to you. Please speak to me because we have to finalize this term in the agreement. This was at 12:41 p.m. And around 2:30 p.m. we got this very shocking news. And when we got this news, that agreement draft was still open on my laptop. And we were working on it. And so that was such a very, very severe shock. It was actually more shocking to me than most of you because I was working on the assignment with him. And just few months back I was talking to Dwarkadish Prabhu. He was in detail explaining to me how people in their 40s and their 50s are getting heart attacks. And it's not about people in their 80s only who get it. He was warning me, he was warning us, and he was saying that he's doing a study about how to prevent this. And unfortunately Krishna Kumar Prabhu also had to experience that. And we can really hope and pray that we can learn like a devotee. A devotee in his living, he teaches by example, and even in his passing, he teaches us. So yes, he has taught us how to take care of our physical health and not take anything for granted. Thank you, but I would really like to serve him and the family in the way that he was very, very close. And like I mentioned, we used to discuss many things for hours together. Couple months back, he was discussing with me how he had gone on an international vacation with family, and he was sharing photographs of how they were spending good time at the vacation. So anything and everything we would discuss. And finally, we got associated in the CDD team, and many devotees have explained about his maturity of how he would handle critical situations also. He would handle situations without criticizing any individual. And he would really draw out a solution. So there's so much that we can talk. I'm just jumping from one thing to another. But, with the paucity of time, I will end here. Thank you, and I really hope and pray that I can be of some service. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Giri Govardhan. Dr. Prakash Prabhu, and we'd like to request Ravindranath Prabhu to please be ready to make his offering.
हरे कृष्ण। कृष्णकांत प्रभु मेरे बहुत अच्छे मित्र थे, मेरे घने मित्र थे, और मैं उनका बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ कि वो हमारे काउंसलिंग ग्रुप में एज अ सेक्रेटरी की सेवा देते थे, और कभी भी उनको अगर काउंसलिंग मीटिंग रखनी है तो फ़ोन करते थे, और अगर मैंने कह दिया नहीं प्रभु जी इस वक्त नहीं रख सकते हैं, तो कभी उन्होंने दूसरी बार ऐसे पूछा नहीं कि क्यों नहीं रख सकते हैं, ऐसा उनका स्वभाव था। मैं उनका बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ दो चीज़ के लिए। एक तो वो जो कांदिवली का प्रोग्राम चलाते थे उसमें प्रवचन और कीर्तन का मुझे अवसर दिया, और दूसरा मेरे जो मेंटीज थे वो 10 साल से एज ए मेंटीज थे मेरे ग्रुप में, और उनको हमको काउंसलिंग ग्रुप में शिफ्ट करना था और दीक्षा दिलाना था। तो मैंने उनको मेरा हृदय खोल के बताया, तो जब अवसर आया तब सामने से उन्होंने मुझे फोन किया कि प्रभु जी देखो इस वक्त अवसर है ना, आप चुकिएगा मत। मैं उनके पीछे नहीं था, लेकिन वो मेरे पीछे पड़ के उनका इंटरव्यू समय सर लेके उनको काउंसलिंग ग्रुप में शिफ्ट करके उनको दीक्षा दिलाने का बहुत बड़ा काम किया। तो मैं उनका बहुत बहुत ये चीज के लिए आभारी हूँ। जब मैंने उनका ये समाचार सुना कि उन्होंने शरीर छोड़ दिया है, तो मेरे हृदय में दूसरे क्षण एक विचार आया, वो है कमल दर जल जीवन दर मन। ये उन्होंने एक बड़ी सीख मुझे सिखाई कि जिस पे मुझे अपने मनुष्य जीवन के जो अनमोल समय है उस पे कैसे काम करना है, उनकी उन्होंने सीख ये जाते जाते भी हमें दी थी। और दूसरा मेरे मन में ये विचार आया कि जो व्यक्ति मनुष्य जीवन लेता है उसको जन्म मृत्यु जरा और व्याधि से गुजरना ही पड़ता है, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगा कि जरूर उन्होंने अपने जीवन में बहुत कृष्ण भावनामृत में सेवा की है, इसलिए भगवान ने उनको वो जो जरा वाला जो भाग है वो स्किप करा दिया। जिसने जन्म लिया है वो तो उनको शरीर तो छोड़ना ही है, लेकिन अपने कर्मों के हिसाब से भगवान कभी कभी आशीर्वाद भी देते हैं। तो मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि भगवान ने उन पे जरूर ये कृपा की है, और ये जो जरा वाला जो भाग है वो उनके जीवन में से उन्होंने निकाल दिया। एक अच्छे व्यक्ति और एक अच्छे भक्त की पहचान उसके विचार और उसके व्यवहार के दर्शन से होती है। उनका जो स्वभाव था वो सरल, शीतल और सम के स्तर पर था। जीवन में उनके काफी उतार चढ़ाव आए। अग्रवाल का खून था तो उन्होंने व्यापार भी किया, बाद में उनको व्यापार भी बंद करना पड़ा। उनके पारिवारिक सामाजिक जीवन में भी उनको तकलीफ आई, लेकिन एक चीज मैंने उनसे नोट की, उनका स्वभाव था बंदी मुट्ठी लाख की। उन्होंने कभी भी अपने जीवन में जो भी तकलीफें आई, परेशानी आई, कभी भी उसने दूसरे व्यक्ति के सामने खोलकर नहीं कहा। उन्होंने सब चीज अपने हृदय में ही रखा। और अंत में मेरे जीवन में उनके साथ में एक बहुत बड़ी घटना हुई, और उनकी वो घटना से मैंने उनके स्वभाव को जाना और समझा। वो ये था कि इसी एरिया में एक जन्माष्टमी प्रोग्राम होता है जिनमें 400-500 लोग आते हैं, और जन्माष्टमी प्रोग्राम में वो उत्सव कमेटी के एक मेंबर थे। तो उन्होंने मुझे फोन किया और कहा प्रभु जी ये जन्माष्टमी में आपको कीर्तन की सेवा करनी है, अभिषेक के वक्त और बाद में प्रवचन के बाद में, ये दोनों सेवा आपकी है। तो मैंने उनको कहा कि प्रभु जी आपके कमेटी ने अप्रूव किया है ना मुझे, कि हाँ आप आइए कोई दिक्कत नहीं। फिर मैंने कहा प्रभु जी उस दिन तो मेरा राधा गोपीनाथ में कलश है, फिर राधा रासबिहारी में भी कलश है, और मुझे मेरे परिवार के साथ में जाना है, मैं क्या करूँ, मैं वो सेवा करूँ या सेवा करूँ। तो प्रभु जी ने कहा प्रभु जी देखो आपके ऊपर है, लेकिन हमारी जो संस्था है वो प्रचार की सेवा की संस्था है, तो ये अगर आप करोगे तो ये प्रभुपाद जी आपसे ज्यादा प्रसन्न होगी। तो उनके ये एकदम स्पष्ट उनके जो विचार थे ये देख के मैंने वो सेवा स्वीकार कर ली। ना ही मेरे
पत्नी और मेरे बच्चों मेरे से थोड़े नाराज हो जाएंगे, उसको छोड़ के मैंने उनकी सेवा कर ली। ठीक है, मैंने सेवा ले ली। अब जन्माष्टमी के दिन आपको पता है कोई मृदंग प्लेयर फ्री नहीं होते हैं। जैसे कि अलग अलग प्रकार की सेवा होती है, प्रवचन की सेवा है, तो प्रवचन की सेवा 1 मैन शो की होती है। आपको तैयारी करनी है, आपको प्रवचन अच्छा करना है और आपको प्रवचन वहां जाके देना है। उसमें कोई ग्रुप की जरूरत नहीं होती है। लेकिन जो कीर्तन की सेवा होती है उसमें आपको ग्रुप की सेवा होती है। आपको मृदंग प्लेयर लाना है। उन्होंने कहा था कि नहीं, आप अच्छे अच्छे म्यूजिक प्लेयर भी ले आइए ताकि हमारे जो भक्त है उनको हम अच्छे से संतुष्ट कर सके। ये उनका ध्येय था। तो मृदंग प्लेयर कोई था नहीं। मैंने न्यू बॉम्बे से कोई अच्छे मृदंग प्लेयर थे, उनको मैंने गाड़ी भेज के मैंने बुलवाया। वायलिन प्लेयर को मैंने बुलवाया। करताल के लिए कोई नहीं था, हाथ पैर जोड़ के उनको ही बुलवाया। अब हम 4 जन इकट्ठे हो गए। हम वहां बैठे जहां स्टेज था वहां। हमने जैसे कीर्तन चालू किया, मैंने 3 बार हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र बोला और तीसरे महामंत्र में उत्सव कमेटी के एक मेंबर आए तो मुझे कहा, प्रभु जी आपको नहीं गाना है, मंदिर से कोई आया है, वो गाएंगे, उनको दीजिए। तो मैं उठ गया और मेरे जगह पे वो बैठ गए। उन्होंने अपना पूरा अभिषेक में अपना कीर्तन गाया। अब मेरे साथ में जो म्यूजिक प्लेयर थे वो थोड़े डिस्टर्ब हो गए, क्योंकि देखो आपने बुलाया इसलिए हम आए थे और हमारा मंदिर भी जाना नहीं हुआ। हमको मंदिर में जाना था अभिषेक में, वो भी हमने, उससे भी हम चुप गए। तो फिर मैंने उनको पूछा कि प्रभु जी ये प्रवचन के बाद में हमें सेवा करनी है क्या वही सेवा करेंगे? नहीं नहीं प्रभु जी आपको ही सेवा करनी है। मैंने कहा प्लीज प्रभु जी आप उनको पूछ लीजिए। उन्होंने उनको पूछ लिया तो कहा नहीं नहीं ठीक है आपको ही करनी है। उसके बाद में जैसे ही हमने वापिस सेवा शुरू की तब तो फिर एक ही महामंत्र के बाद में वही प्रभु जी आ गए और कहा नहीं प्रभु जी इनको दे दो। तो मैंने उन प्रभु जी को पूछा, प्रभु जी आप तो बोले ना कि आप तो खाली कीर्तन करके जाने वाले हो। नहीं नहीं मैंने कहा था, वो तो उन्होंने कहा, मैंने नहीं कहा, मैं तो अंत तक करने वाला हूँ। तो मेरे म्यूजिक प्लेयर ने सुन लिया, वो थोड़े डिस्टर्ब हो गए। तो उन्होंने उनको बोला, प्रभु जी आपने तो ऐसा अपराध कर दिया, आपने हम सबको बुलाया वो ठीक है, लेकिन आपने उनको बोला था कि सेकंड कीर्तन करना है और फिर आपने हमको बोला, उन्होंने बोला नहीं करना है, तो ये तो थोड़ा मतलब चीटिंग जैसा हो गया। उनको ये बहुत बुरा लगा। लेकिन देखिए उन्होंने क्या उत्तर दिया और ये उत्तर आपको बताएगा कि उनका स्वभाव कितना सरल और शीतल और सम के भाव पे था। उन्होंने कहा, प्रभु जी इसमें मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ, हो गया, मैं आपसे केवल माफी मांग सकता हूँ, तो आप मुझे प्लीज माफ कर देना। हो गया वो हो गया, बस इतना ही कहा। उन्होंने एक भी शब्द, वो जो दूसरे डिवोटी थे उत्सव कमेटी के, जिन्होंने उनके आदेश का उल्लंघन करके अपनी मर्जी से दूसरे को बिठाया, क्योंकि ये सोचना है फिर दूसरे बार कोई आएगा नहीं सेवा के लिए, उन्होंने वो सोचा नहीं। उन्होंने उनकी बिल्कुल एक शब्द में भी बुराई नहीं की, उनके विरुद्ध कुछ बोला नहीं, बस वो एक सेंटेंस बोले और चुपचाप खड़े हो गए, हमारे प्रति राधा के रूप। तो ये बताता है कि भक्त कौन से परिपक्व स्तर पे थे। नहीं तो ऐसी प्रोवोकिंग स्टेज में तो किसी से भी निकल जाता है, लेकिन उनमें से नहीं निकला। इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ कि कृष्ण कुमार प्रभु बहुत ही परिपक्व स्तर पे थे। और फिर ठाकुर जी ने किसी को 0 बल्ब दिया है, किसी को 50 वेट का बल्ब दिया है और किसी को 100 वॉट का बल्ब दिया है। जैसे श्री रामा प्रभु ने अभी कुछ कहा वही। तो हमारा कार्य तो है कि अगर हमको 50 वोल्ट का बल्ब दिया है तो हमको 50 वोल्ट का प्रकाशित करना है। तो कृष्ण कुमार प्रभु ने भी अपनी मानसिक और शारीरिक क्षमता से कृष्ण भावनामृत में अपना पूरा योगदान दिया है। तो पूरा विश्वास है कि भगवान उन पे जरूर कृपा करेंगे और कृपा की है। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Prabhuji. After Ravindranath Prabhu, we'd like to request Janvi Mataji to please be ready. Thank you. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च passing तो भी ये करता हूँ about motivation with
I know Krishna Kumar since last 25 years, but he was so humble right from the beginning and so humbly talking to everyone also. So I came to know this Krishna Kumar is IITN after 3-4 years. इतने बार हम लोग बीच में बात किए थे and we were talking together and whenever the topic of Krishna conscious comes, he used to ask, and the olden days, 1986, he used to ask all those things also. I was very happy when I came to know for 2 to 3 years he is the IITN. I really subscribed. So when his housewarming ceremony was there, Gaurang Prabhu was the speaker, he came on that day. In that Gaurang Prabhu, like Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj said, he mentioned that, Gaurang Prabhu clearly mentioned कि जो हेमंत अग्रवाल है ना, हम लोग IIT में जब भी थे, he was the one person who encouraged us to connect to ISKCON in IIT. He was the first person, you know, उसके Gaurang Prabhu was giving full credit to him. And second, he was telling, हम सब लोग IIT होने के बाद भक्ति रामामृत के साथ रह के, we were all together. We were thinking we all become brahmacharis. But ये जो हमको कनेक्ट किया, हमने ब्रह्मचारी बन गया, एक गृहस्थ बन गया करके they were saying. But after that also, I think it is a Krishna's arrangement. Though he was having a brahmachari quality, but he entered into the grihastha ashram. When he entered into the grihastha ashram, he made a dual role. He was a grihastha also, and from his consciously, mentally, and his dedicated devotion service, he was really a brahmachari. So I said, this is all Krishna's arrangement. Then, usually, most of the people, they read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita to give preaching to others. Still, people are there to implement in their life. But one thing I noticed by discussing Krishna Kumar, sometimes he used to discuss hours together. I really surprised. ये तो IIT ने हम लोग उसके सामने कुछ भी नहीं. But वो बोलते हैं हम लोग IIT इधर नहीं देखते. Krishna conscious में everyone is same. So when Arjuna was asking who was the Titiksha, means साधु होने करके कृष्ण को पूछा था. कृष्ण ने बताया ये श्लोक मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदः आगमपायिनो नित्य ताम तितिक्ष भारत. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of the happiness and the distress and the disappearance is due course, are like appearance and the disappearance of the winter and summer season. They arises from the sense perception ocean of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being a disturbed. This is the perfect Krishna Kumar. He implemented in his life. When we were discussing, he was having so many problems. We can see also. But he never ever mentioned. हमारा प्रॉब्लम भी उसको बताएगा तो he used to say, प्रभु जी ये तो आते रहते हैं यात्रा, ये तो टॉलरेट, कैसे भी टॉलरेट करना पड़ेगा. And he never ever appreciated, though he was an IIT, मैंने IIT किया है, मैंने ये किया है ना, but every day he was so busy in one or the other thing. So sometimes when we are discussing, we came to know, when I come from office, जब चाबी खोलता है ना, माइंड में लगता है घर में कोई नहीं. Then I plan out for programming, for Kandivali program, नहीं तो कौन आ रहा है, कौन preaching के लिए आ रहा है, वो सब मैं arrange करता हूँ. नहीं तो भगवत गीता भागवत वापस पढ़ता हूँ. Then food भी नहीं है तो अपना counseling arrange करने के लिए. I keep busy. Whatever I do in the name of Krishna only. कुछ भी नहीं तो cooking करता हूँ. He was very expert in Thai curry cooking. भाई करीब जो बुक करता था, हमारा काउंसलिंग मीटिंग में हम लोग करते थे। सी विद दिस वो कभी एनकरेज बहुत करते थे, क्योंकि we were doing kirtan for Radha Raspiyari and Radha Gopinath. He used to encourage, प्रभु जी आप कब से शुरू किया राधा गोपीनाथ में राधा रास्ते 2009 then he will say प्रभु जी आप 5 साल से कर रहे हैं, keep it go on ऐसे करते हैं ना करते, then राधा गोपीनाथ से, but he used to appreciate only one thing, जो भी हम लोग करते हैं, but he was knowing that I was learning classical especially for kirtan, and he said प्रभु जी आप जो कर रहे हैं ना consistently maintain this, कभी भी हम लोग अपना नेम और फेम के लिए कभी भी नहीं करना प्रभु जी, जो भी है to please Krishna and Krishna's devotee and Vaishnava and Guru Maharaj. I learned a lot this thing from him, and he used to encourage whatever good thing we don't know, he used to encourage. So he was such a wonderful devotee. This is the second quality. And the third one, he was a good and a strong decision maker in a difficult situation. वो बोलते हैं ना, गरम भी मुंह में रहेगा तो थूक भी नहीं सकता है, अंदर भी नहीं ले सकता. But he was the perfect person to take decision in such situation. I just want to tell one incident what happened to that. Earlier, for our counseling group, whenever yatra is there, I used to go and make a booking for all our counseling so that we all devotees come together in yatra. Means हम लोग every time तो रह नहीं सकते, कभी-कभी दिल्ली का यात्रा, earlier we used to go by train only. So all counseling का मैंने booking करता था. So we come into one group there, Kirtida Mataji was there, Rishabhanu Puja, Upendra Prabhu was there, that time Sharanagati Mataji was. मैं 4:30 बजे उठ के ट्रेन का लाइन में खड़ा होकर 3 फॉर्म भरता था, वो सब देख लिया मैंने. बाद में 2003 में अपना मायापुर यात्रा आ गया था, वो भी कलकत्ता जाने का था. सो दैट टाइम प्रभु जी अभी आप जाके मत खड़ा मत हो जाइए, अभी ऑनलाइन बुकिंग हो सकता है. सो मैं कर ले तो आप मत कीजिए, इतना तकलीफ मत उठाइए 4:30 बजे उठ के टिकट निकालने. सो ही बुक ऑनलाइन, आई थिंक ऑलमोस्ट 17 पीपल का, 6 पीपल का उन्होंने वो बुकिंग किया था. बुकिंग करके सब बुकिंग टिकट उनके पास ही रख दिया था, तभी व्हाट्सएप नहीं था. The train was leaving from Bombay, CST. So that time I thought I will make an arrangement because 33 hours journey was there. I will make an arrangement for this Jain Prasadam in the train. Oh, अच्छा वो आप कर दीजिए, टिकट का मैं कर देता हूँ. Then that day has come, that is 2003 December, Mayapur Kartik Yatra. The train has to go to Howrah. और ट्रेन के लिए ऋषभानु प्रभु, कीर्तिदा माता जी, उपेंद्र प्रभु, शरणागति माता जी, they are always in every place, they are well in advance 1 hour. ट्रेन अभी रहेगा तो 1.5 hours पहले वो लोग आ गए थे ट्रेन के लिए. सो हम भी गया था, 1 hour हो गया था. Then 1 hour बाकी था ट्रेन छोड़ने के लिए. कृष्ण कुमार प्रभु आ गया, नहीं वो आ रहा है. Then 15 मिनट निकल गया, आधा घंटे कृष्ण कुमार प्रभु आ गए, नहीं वो आ रहे पूरा फैमिली के साथ. अभी अर्जुन was not born that time. Nandini was a toddler and Radha was just like, they were all coming all the way from Kandivali to taxi करके आ रहा था. अभी आधा घंटा बाद वापस फोन किया, नहीं टूबी में आ रहा हूँ, तो बाप रह जाऊंगा. सब टिकट उनके पास है, किसके पास भी टिकट नहीं. हम लोग 17 मेंबर्स थे, उनका 4 मेंबर्स का 4 बच्चे लोग का नहीं था, हमारा 30. then बाद में माता जी लोग का टेंशन छोटा होने को शुरू हो गया. बाद में प्रभु जी किधर है, नहीं प्रभु जी मैं आ रहा हूँ, अभी मैं क्रॉस किया हूँ, सांता क्लॉज में आया हूँ. बाद में बोला then there is foot traffic है, सांता क्लॉज में अभी तक है, 25 मिनट्स बाद कभी पहुंचेंगे. सब टिकट उनके पास है, किसी के पास भी टिकट नहीं. कभी का आधार कार्ड भी नहीं था हम लोग बताने के लिए, हाँ लिस्ट में अपना नाम नहीं करके सब पता नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं था. नो व्हाट्सएप, नथिंग. व्हाट्सएप छोटा 60 के 2009 से. फिर आया नहीं. बाद में
वापस 10 मिनट प्रभु जी मैं आ रहा हूँ, ट्रैफिक में अटक गया हूँ, आदमी किधर है? मैंने नजदीक आ रहा हूँ, वापस सेक्शन का नजदीक आया हूँ। देन बाद में लास्ट में 5 मिनट लगे, फिर भी ट्रैफिक में अटक गए मैंने।
पूरा फैमिली है, उनका तो हालत क्या हो गया वो then I think Nandini was a toddler also and baggage and luggage लेके
प्रभु जी किधर है? अभी 5 मिनट में गाड़ी में आ रहा हूँ, डोंट वरी। बाद में बोलता 2 मिनट, एक काम करो, ट्रेन चालू हो गई तो चेन खुल पाओ।
जिंदगी में हमने चेंज किया ही नहीं, बट लकीली हमारा बुकिंग जो था ना एक ही कुप्पे में था।
गाड़ी छोड़ रही, सिग्नल हो गया, सायरन बज रहा है करके, आए कभी किधर है प्रभु जी? नहीं नहीं आ रहा हूँ, आप चेन पीछे बोलते हैं।
अपना सीरियस में नाम नहीं लेता, जोर से चेन खींचा, चेन में जंग लगा था, वो खींचने में उनको ताकत दिख गया। बाकी सब लोगों ने देखा कि क्या वो कुप्पे में हम लोग ही था।
प्रभु जी चेन खींचा है, अभी वो आ रहे हैं, आप किधर है? मैं आ रहा हूँ, मैं ट्रैफिक में फंस गया हूँ, आ रहा हूँ। इधर माता जी लोगों का सब, कीर्तिदा माता जी, शरणागति माता जी, अपना और माता जी का टेंशन है, अरे अपने पास टिकट नहीं है, हम लोग सब लोग फाइन भरना पड़ेगा। बाद में वो फर्स्ट आ गया, पहला वो दंडी भरा रहा था ना, वो क्या इसमें तो फिर आया, अंदर घुसा दिया, वापस मोम करके सैंडल गया। प्रभु जी किधर है? हम लोग चेन भी खींच चुका है, लेकिन गाड़ी भी सेकंड टाइम छोड़ रहा है, किधर है? नहीं मैं आ रहा हूँ, गाड़ी निकल गया क्या? नहीं निकलने वाला है, अभी निकलने वापस चेन खींचा, वापस चेन खींचा, तब भी ये आ ही रहे, नजदीक भी नहीं है। बाद में सेकंड पर्सन, अपना सेकंड काउंसिल, वो भी ताकत करके वो भी काट खींचा, बट बाकी किसी को मालूम नहीं पड़ रहा है, लेकिन कौन खींचा करके मालूम पड़ रहा है, वो डब्बे के बाहर आता है ना वो सिग्नल, वो सेकंड टाइम भी हो गया, बाहर भी आ गया, वापस डाल दिया। वो लोग वो प्रोसेस करने में 5 मिनट क्या रहता है, इनको बेटर 10-15 मिनट मिल सकते हैं लोगों को। देन फिर भी नहीं है तो वापस गाड़ी छूट रहा है, अभी हम लोग बस हो गया, हम लोग फाइन सब लोग देने का है, देन वी हैव टू टेल, पहले ही बोल देने का टीसी आएगा तो भी बोलता है प्रभु जी आप किधर है? मैं आ गया, नजदीक आ गया, अभी क्या करें, ट्रेन छूट रहा है ना, नजदीक आए तो किधर से जाए? देन बोलता और एक बार चेक, थर्ड टाइम हम लोग चेक किया, वो टीसी जो आया, 3-4 आदमी अपना डब्बे में आ गया, देन सुना कौन है, किसी को मालूम नहीं पड़ रहा ना। अपना ही काउंसिल बोला, अपना पहचान है सुप्रिंटेंडेंट का, पहले से और भी भटक गया वो, इसके लिए चेंज खींच रहा है, तुमको छोड़ूंगा नहीं करके बोला उनको। बाद में बाय द प्रोसेस वो अंदर डाल रहे थे, लास्ट डब्बे में लोग के अंदर से बाहर ये लोग बॉडी करके माता जी सो मच टेंशन, वो भी 4 लगेज है। बाहर में वो बोलते हैं, किसी बोलता तुमको कल्याण में उतरना पड़ेगा, उधर बात करो, उसको जो बोला ना सुप्रिंटेंडेंट का पहचाने करके, उसको छोड़ ही नहीं रहा, मैं उसको तुमको छोड़ूंगा। बाद में कृष्ण कुमार को आ गया, आने के बाद उसका हमारा गलती हो गई, हमारा ये हो गया, then somewhat he managed, that's what he is such a brave person in such situation। ये क्या है, थूक भी नहीं सकता, अंदर भी नहीं सकता गरम घी, ऐसा सिचुएशन में था, तेरी जो किसका दिमाग में आएगा। So that is why I'm so grateful to you for your bravery and your courage. In such case also, he never ever appreciated, like Arjuna को कृष्ण ने बताया ना, सुख दुख समपाइन, he was that kind of a person. Because of बोलते हैं ना, साधु संग लाओ मात्र, ये तो साधु ही सच्चे। कृष्ण ने इतना जल्दी लेके गया, कुछ तो क्वालिटी है उनके साथ, इसके लिए तो लेके गया। कृष्ण कुमार प्रभु, आई एम सो थैंकफुल टू यू बिकॉज ऑफ encouragement, appreciation. We are living with your words and you give us so much time. Though you are well qualified, you are given hours together to discuss certain Krishna consciousness. Thank you. My sincere condolence for your family. Everything will be okay. He is there behind you all because he loves you all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ravindranatha Prabhu, Jana Mataji, we'd like to request you to come. And all of us know, but some of you may not know, she is Krishna Prabhu's mother-in-law. So, after Janwa Mataji, we request Raghunandan Prabhu to come. And just so that everybody knows, we are in the last few speakers, just 2 more. And then we'll have Jay Anilo and flower offerings to Prabhuji, which is short kirtan, after which there will be prasad. But in case there is someone who cannot wait even for 10-15 minutes, which is fine, prasad has started downstairs on the 3rd floor. In case you cannot wait, please do honor prasad in honor of Krishna Kumar Prabhu, and in case you can wait, we'll be very, very happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare. It is sad that a mother has to be offering to her son. It should be the other way around. But, I got this chance to say something good about his qualities. So, as a Marwadi businessman and coming from a good wealthy family from Delhi, and he became a son-in-law, and whenever he would come home, I never could see that a son-in-law, how he behaves. Marwadi son-in-law wants attention, wants pampering and good food. I saw him to be a very, very simple, down-to-earth man. And the interaction that followed in the next few years, like my daughter would say, is like an aloo. Aloo means करेले में भी डाल दो, भिंडी में भी डाल दो, सब्जी में भी डाल दो, दाल में भी, आलू की सब्जी भी. Means he was very malleable, like not very strong on anything. Like it should be done like this or no. Even if I invited him last moment, Krishna point, oh, there's a festival in my house, please come, he would come. Or even if I didn't tell him personally, I would just tell Rajkumari and then he would come. Never expected any great welcome. And then I saw how he's detached and how simple he is. I could feel that he's a yogi of many lifetimes. So I thought some unfinished task is there and he's come to finish that task. And when I read the Bhagavad Gita, I can identify so many qualities, like in 2.56 and 2.57. Dukheshu anuprigna mana, sukheshu vigatas graha, vita raga bhaya krodha, sthita dhir munir uchyate. One who is not disturbed in spite of threefold miseries, not elated when happy, free from attachment, fear and anger, is a state of steady mind. So all the difficulties that he went through, he was calm, he was peaceful. He never complained, he never argued. He took a very, very calm attitude, very positive attitude towards everything that happened in his life. Then it says, Na sarvatra nishpeshas tattat prapya shubhashubham nabhi nanvanti na dveshati tasya pragya pratishtita. He who is without attachment does not rejoice when he obtains good, nor laments when he obtains evil, is firmly fixed in true knowledge. So there is no wow factor in his life. When we see something good, wow, go to a place so nice. Arjun was saying, Papa came to Helsinki and I said, Papa, see how beautiful. See, that's nice. If too much food is there, Chappan Bhog. We all, say, oh, Chappan Bhog. He never craved. I remember serving him many times, but he never took 2 helpings. I said, Amras, Gulab Jamun. It was that Amras, Gulab Jamun, Karele ki sabji, it was just same to him. I said, how this man is so steady, so poised and no greed for anything. In fact, sometimes it was difficult to converse because he was always talking in monosyllables. Krishna, how are you? Fine. So his office. And everyone would ask questions, he would say, 1 minute and then I said, how do I talk about to him? I want him to also ask me, Mommy, how are you? But nothing would come from him. So it was very difficult. But he spoke less. He was very, very controlled. So I knew that he's a yogi. His senses are controlled, mind is controlled. He doesn't want too much food, he doesn't want too much attention, not too many people to talk to. And as a son-in-law, if I don't give him attention, oh, he's sitting alone. But he was just singing and chanting. It's not that I had to give him company. So it was very nice to see that. He was not detached. He was very detached from name, fame. He was satisfied where whatever he obtained by mercy of providence, and he managed to fulfill all his obligations while maintaining himself with whatever sustenance came his way. He was not over ambitious, but by God's grace, he was the director of a company, but he never made his family feel like so high up there. So whichever state of life he went through, he had never had any pride in himself. Of course, it was translated to material cause and effects. And I feel that even in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Adveshta Sarva Bhutana, Maitra Karuna Evacha, Nirmamo Nir Ahankara, Sama Dukha Sukha Shami, Santushta Satatam Yogi, Yatatma Drida Nishchaya, Mai Karpita Mano Buddhi, Yomat Bhakta Same Priya. So Krishna says, such a devotee is Same Priya, is very, very dear to me. Who Adveshta Sarva Bhutana, he was never envious. He never thought his car is better than my car. He was very happy to travel in train, but his children got after him, Papa, you must buy a car, you must buy a car. And then he bought a car for himself but never used. So now that you drive the car. Whenever they won't go out, he will make the children drive. And then they will say, Papa, come to Pune by car. No, I'll take a bus. I don't want to drive 4 hours. So he's not attached to having a car or happy to travel in the train. He just wanted peaceful living. Advesh, no envious with anybody, not envious, not duplicity, never gossip. So many times he would come and I would ask him for what is Bombay news. He would never speak a word about anything. Then they nice. And next sentence, then quiet. So Maitra Karuna Evachari, Prabhuji said, very much Karuna he had, compassion, and he's very friendly. Like he could mix with anybody, any crowd. He never chose anybody. Just Krishna wanted to take care of his guests who just mingle with the Pune devotees. So Adveshta Sarva Bhutana, Maitra Karuna Evacha, Nirmamo Nir Ahankara. So no pride. He never had pride. Nirmama, nothing mine. He never did that. Not attached to house, property, anything. Very, very detached from material life. And I guess that is why he was so dear to Krishna. Yomat Bhakta Same Priya. He was dear to Krishna because of his endearing qualities, and so the Lord cut off his bondage from the material existence. I know he's gained a lot and we have lost a lot. And I thank all of you for blessing our beautiful relationship with him and with Krishna Kumar, and we also learned so many more things about him. And when his family was here, they were also devastated, as all of us were. So I just wrote a small little few lines involving his parents also in it. Hemant was actually like a son to me. Instead of me saying an offering to him, I was thinking that when I die, he will give a shoulder to me. But I want to miss that. Hemant beta hamara, माँ बाप के आँखों का तारा, राधा नंदिनी अर्जुन का सहारा, पूजा शिल्पा बहनों का दुलारा, भाई आनंद का सच्चा यारा, सास का बेटा प्यारा, जग से न्यारा, श्याम सुंदर जी का जिया जियारा, भक्तों के हृदय का प्यारा, हेमंत बेटा हमारा. I will miss him a lot.
Thank you, Janava. Raghunandan Prabhu, request you to come forward, and after him we will request Sanatan Dhan Prabhu to make a short offering. And in case there is a shortage of time, so I'm sorry if we have not been able to call others. Maybe in our Saturday Satsang program, there are people who would like to speak about him, and please, we'll have a separate program over there. So after him, we'll be calling Radha, right? Nandini. Okay. Nandini, she'll be coming to speak a few words and also read out some offerings from Hemant's parents who are in Delhi. And one poem we'd like to read out after Prabhuji, which from Prahlad Priya Prabhu, which we'll request that we read out. And then we'll have the JML Premala.
Hey Krishna sir, keep it short. I think a lot of devotees have spoken about his Krishna Kumar Prabhu and his great qualities. My interaction with Krishna Kumar goes way back to the IIT days. I think Parmas Prabhu spoke elaborately about a lot of those interactions. But just a couple of details. I think one is that he also had a nickname, which was Gantu. Right? So I always knew him as Gantu because that's what we used to call him for almost 4 or 5 years. And the way I came to know him even before Krishna consciousness was that as Parmas Prabhu said, 4 of them, right? Gauranga Prabhu, Parmas Prabhu, Krishna Prabhu, and Mahendra were on the other side of the tree. And I was on the other side. And there was another student, who was co-student, his name was Rajesh Gupta, which we called Rosie. So Rosie and Gantu, both of them had a connection with Calcutta. I think they were Marwadi family, they're from some Calcutta connection, I don't know what it was. So every now and then Gantu would come, especially after dinner or whatever, he would come to the side just for banter with Rosie, and then I used to be there. So I think that we had a lot of informal conversations about everything under the sun. Okay? So a lot of it is about the college and everything. That's how I got to know him. But obviously what happened was a serious transformation happened in the last 2 years, right? Something which none of us expected, right? And I was a little bit of an outsider to it because the other side was the ISKCON wing, as Prabhu Prabhu said. I was on this side and I was an outsider and I was getting different feedbacks also, right? People were kind of reacting to how the whole thing was happening on the other side in a way that maybe they didn't know about it also, right? People are firstly astonished that people could transform so dramatically. There were also people who were skeptical about this because Nayan Prabhu especially was very stickler. I mean, I still remember a particular incident where we were supposed to have this Navratri Garba something, and obviously all the hostel from all the hostels they were coming, and Nayan Prabhu was told, okay, why don't you start the Durga Aarti? It went on for 25 minutes. People are waiting and saying, so from that time itself, that wing had a certain perception, right? I'm just reminiscing some of those things. But I would say that after that, in Krishna consciousness, my real interaction with him was when Bhakti Radha Maharaj had that debate competition. And it was a very ambitious program. And I tell you, it was ambitious to the extent where we were trying to involve colleges in the program without knowing the pin code of those colleges and sending out letters. So, Krishna Prabhu was doing all the logistics, right? You had something like 5,000 colleges to whom we were sending invites. And there was a database, I think there's some database available which he managed to get. But it didn't have pin codes. So how do you get it out, right? So you can imagine the effort that went into actually pulling out the pin code for each of those. Because it first went to the post office to send the letter, and then the post office, the guy said, pin code in here, kisko bhejega tum? So then we came back, and then he actually got all the pin codes done, right? I mean, so the humongous amount of work, right? And a lot of logistical effort was involved in it because, I mean, some of us who were there at that time recall that we had just moved into ISKCON, I think a year or 2 ago or something, and dealing with the entire ISKCON movement in so much, the whole expanse of India, right? And coordinating and getting this thing done was a huge task, and Bhakti Radha Maharaj was on phone call almost every night. So the entire task of managing the logistics of everything to do with setting it up and sending out the letters and then figuring out what all packages has to be sent, the entire materials, everything, designing the material, everything was done by Mr. Kumar. And I still remember in Dadar, essentially there was a trademark area where Krishna Prabhu used to sleep, right? Which was basically the place where he could sleep without disturbing others. Because he would be the last person to sleep because he had so much of work to do that at the end. So the way it used to happen was that me and my brother used to go there and we used to go back home, right? So when we leave is when Krishna Prabhu would go to bed, right? So we know exactly where people slept and at what time they slept, right? Because Madhav Prabhu and Bhakti Radha had their own schedules, right? Either they were out of programs or they were busy and then they would sleep in the other room, but they would sleep. So his level of commitment and the level of detail and it was amazing, right? I mean, something that I came to appreciate only later.
The other thing that I would mention, I think everybody has spoken about it, he was a man of very few words. I mean, every interaction I had after that, right? We used to meet many times in the Sunday program, and oftentimes after the Maharaj lecture or whatever, then the Prasad used to meet, and most of the discussion was on what Maharaj spoke in the lecture, right? We used to discuss that. His points were very, very to the point in just few words, and then the trademark smile, right? Always something about Maharaj lecture which you have to smile about, right? It's always there, right? Maharaj would have said something or cracked a joke or something which you can talk about. And he used to just smile. And the thing was that he was a man of few words but with substance. Right? He will not speak anything unless it is nothing frivolous, right? There was no gossip, there was nothing general time pass talk about anything, it was all to the point and so on. Right? And even more recently, I also happen to meet him professionally in the context of his job in Kolkata and also in Spanish. And even there it was to the point, it was not thing. So anyway, look, I mean, I have so many memories I can think about, especially he was one of the few people in the hostel who used to wear a kurta and pajama. I mean, most of us were in shorts and other stuff, but he had a little bit of a habit, right, which distinguished him from the rest of the crowd also. So many memories come to mind, but I think time is short. And I would just say at this point, I am deeply grateful to Krishna Prabhu for his camaraderie, friendship, and just that being part of, because look, that was what really kept us in the initial days of Krishna consciousness. None of us had any great idea about the philosophy or anything. It was just the camaraderie, the fact that you had other people around you who also were pursuing the same, right? Because the whole pushback from society was so tremendous, right? So you needed to at least feel part of the crowd. And I think that I'm very grateful to him. And I'm also deep condolences to the family. I think it's a deep loss. But I think in Krishna Kumar Prabhu and his memories, I think you'll find a lot of solace. And I'm sure that Sri Sri Radha Gopinath ji and Maharaj and Prabhupada, that blessings are there with you, and through that you can tide over this very difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghunandan Prabhu, again for taking us back to IIT. And request Sanatan Dharma Prabhu to give a short offering, and then Pitambar Gauranga Prabhu to read out that small poem.
Mancha Kalpatu Pasya Kripa Chandravelu Chapatitanam Pavani Vishnu. Once one interviewer asked Srila Prabhupada, how would we identify devotees of ISKCON? So everyone knows Prabhupada said, devotees of ISKCON are perfect thinkermen. So whenever I think of Krishna Kumar Prabhu, this word exactly fits to him. It is very saddening and very hard to believe that I won't be able to see his ever endearing laughter and vibrant smile. I know him since 2005, and I was very new to Krishna consciousness that time. And he had his animation set up in our building, the 7th floor. So me and my friends and my brothers used to play cricket in the compound, and we would meet him basically every day. I was whatever he used to say. And since 2014, once we started this Janmashtami program, so our interaction increased, and he was like a stabilizer in our whole committee. And one thing I would like to say, like whatever, sometimes we have that we don't feel comfortable or confident, okay, senior and good bowling kuch ideas देंगे. So, but with him, like we have a group of other member devotees, you would always feel comfortable. Okay, probably इसको ऐसा नहीं ऐसा करते, you can do it like this, and he would very patiently listen. That was his amazing quality. Like he was very sensitive to others, and so which is very rare quality. And he was basically a missionary. We might not realize it because I have been because very regularly our services we would meet, and last 3-4 years I am not that active in community program because of personal commitments. But he would always stay in touch. He would always call up on birthdays. And like Dasera, we would have this lunch where he would come to our home. And one thing I was always recollecting, because due to Dasera he came, we spent 3-4 hours together, my family also. And when I invited him, I told Prabhu, my family, they are not from ISKCON background, because sometimes I feel also uncomfortable, because some devotees have that, they don't feel comfortable with this. सब घर पे devotees नहीं, तो please आप आएंगे. For Prabhu, with his very endearing laughter, he said, yeah, अरे आप इतने प्यार से बुला रहे तो हम कैसे भी नहीं. Then he came 3-4 hours, he was speaking to my father, my brothers and everyone. And he would he appreciated everyone of my family, my father, my brother, my hobbies. And like he was there for 3-4 hours. And weekends when I was in Thakur village, Chandivali, before shifting to Mira Road, we would go to National Park and we would do sometimes yogas together and morning walk. And I would discuss, because I am interested in social politics, and I used to discuss a lot of things with him. And one thing I very much observed, that we always had to plan, अच्छा ये program ऐसे करेंगे, we had that missionary zeal. So, and it's a personal loss to me last 10-12 days, his laughter is keeping resonating in my ear. And I'm thankful to him. I'll just end with a short story, just 1 minute. So once there was a disciple in Sri Lanka, he asked his Guru Maharaj, who is a Vaishnava. His Guru Maharaj did not answer him, but he did not answer him. He told you go to Tirupati and ask Anantacharya. So he went to Tirupati, and in Tirupati, again he asked Anantacharya, who is a Vaishnava. So he also did not answer anything. The disciple thought maybe I am not worthy of asking that question. So once there was a big festival, and so Anantacharya told his a devotee, you go and serve everyone. So he served everyone, and he took prasadam last. Then he again asked Anantacharya, who is a Vaishnava? He just answered it, devotee is like a Vaishnava is like a crane, a hen, a salt, and you. And he did not understand. Then he again went back to Sri Lanka and he asked his Guru Maharaj Parashar, but what does it mean? So his Guru Maharaj told, a crane is very pure. It stands on one leg and it ignores the small fish, but whenever some big fish is there, it catches it. So a Vaishnava is someone who ignores the mundane things and he catches the big fish. And it catches the essence, basically. And why hen? So he said hen. There are a lot of things which is laying on the ground, but hen knows how to just pick up grains. And then it feeds to its babies also. And again, hen also just takes the essence. And why, like a salt, like we never glorify salt. कभी हम बोलते नहीं हैं ना अपने घर पे salt अच्छा था. But salt is one of the most important ingredients in a food. And salt dissolves itself basically, and it never takes any credit. So Prabhuji was like that salt. He sort of dissolved himself. And he never took any credit. So Vaishnava also never thanked us for credit. I'm just seeing him, observing him very closely. Many Janmashtami, being a very part of the committee and management at such a senior position, he never attended Janmashtami programs. He used to always do surveys of like managing the kids and overseeing the stalls. Many Janmashtami, he would just come at the end by 11:30, 11:45 or 10 minutes. And being a part of a management committee, he could have delegated, but he led by examples. And like Madhavan told about khichdi party, he would also give us pizza parties. Because once he asked us, what do all of you like? We told pizza. So one devotee told Khichdi. So he just called up, we have a group of devotees. So he called 4 or 5 of us, okay Prabhu, this Saturday we can क्या कर रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं कर रहे, तो आइए तो प्रसाद साथ में लेंगे. Then he cooked a pizza and everything. So this was a regular event for us after Janmashtami. Yeah, I would like to conclude here, and I seek his blessings and very deep condolences to the family. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sanatana Prabhu. And this will be last offering, which will be read by Pratapar Gaurav Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So this is a wonderful poem written by Prahlad Priya Prabhu. He is not in town here, so he sent this poem for all of us to share. Dear Krishna Kumar Prabhu, this is an expression of what we are going through. My words may be broken, but the feelings are true. The day you left, we couldn't offer a garland or shed a tear. So here's a poem for you, which I hope you hold dear. Recall the day of your engagement, someone called you a Pakka Marwadi. Little did we know you'd sustain Thakur village preaching and our school in Hulukwadi. If one loses hands or legs, one could still carry on, but you are the heart of Thakur village preaching, now whom can we count on? Although so senior, you remained like salt, responsibly present, not prominent at all. Now the salt has gone, leaving us to weep. To whom do I go now for tasting true friendship? Although so senior, you never gave force, push or pull, always a gentle nudge to somehow engage this fool. Others may say, I came to speak or sing to add some value, but the truth is I came because I couldn't say no to you. There's one more reason why I came to speak. Attentively hearing even from a junior is an example we all seek. Where will I find now that humility and devotion? Or those genuine tears in eyes when you heard of Krishna's loving reciprocation? Thakurji has taken you now to some village where he hasn't left a clue. If you can hear our hearts, we are just calling out to say we are all missing you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. One thing about Krishna Kumar Prabhu is that we can see his qualities in his children. So his 3 children are here. Nandini, she's in the US, she's US based. She's doing her PS in environmental science. And she's very passionate about the environment, and she wants to remain in the field. And she also wants to do some business related to environment and nature. So this is something which I thought comes from Krishna Kumar, who was always thinking about improving the environment and nature. So that's why he was in touch with Biplav. The 3 of us would regularly chat about, can we make some difference in Barsana, in Mathura, somewhere can we do something for the water, for the nature. And he's a Marwadi. He's got business in his blood. Radha, she's London-based, and she's doing a course in creative writing, and she's focused on landscapes in cities, public spaces, correct? And she's also written, designed, published 2 books by herself, and they're sold. Someone can order online and they have delivered the physical copy. So all of this is done on our own, just full thing together, end to end. And we know from everybody that Krishna Kumar Prabhu was a very creative person. He made children's CDs, children's games and quizzes he would organize. And in Janmashtami he kept them engaged. हम सबनों ने देखा है that he would not come for the actual Janmashtami program, he would be busy with the kids. And Krishna Kumar also learned Spanish to level 4, and level 6 is the highest. So he would make presentations to Spanish people in Spanish, right, in Spain. And this is something which I got to know very, very recently. So anyone at that age to learn a new language to that level means kuch to hai. Something is there. And he also used his business acumen in the trade organization, which is actually the reason for his success. And Arjun, who's the youngest, he's based in Helsinki. And Arjun's world revolves around two things: football and electrical engineering. Right? That's all he knows. And in football, he's in the 4th division, in the local division over there, which is a major thing for a Indian boy to come and play with the locals, and those locals are like really hefty big guys, right? So he's in the 4th division, and I'm sure he'll go up, and he's seriously good at football, and he's also seriously good at electrical engineering. And Krishna Prabhu's world revolved around two things: work and his devotional service activities. So that's why I see so many of his qualities in his children. And now I'll hand over to you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I'm going to start off by reading something that was sent to me by his parents and his siblings. So my Dali, his mother wrote, Hemant, my Dalu, was extraordinary. Individuals of his nature are often less understood. I had a rapport with him which cannot be expressed in words. There is a tear in every eye that knew him. Now when I look back, I will always cherish our endless conversations, sometimes profound, often silly, but mostly just our own special way of communicating with each other. When I would come to stay with him, I always left more soothed in body and in spirit. He would take me to places of pilgrimage I would not have been able to go otherwise. Our weekends together were always fun, exploring the city and finding new places to eat. My Dalu, mere Keletya ka tukda, how can I console myself? You are a part of me and you carried a part of me when you left, a void which will never fill. The world is left poorer without you in it. And then my Dadaji, his father, wrote, Hemant, my firstborn, I remember experiencing the joy of fatherhood for the first time when I gazed at you. You always had a deep bend of mind, often exploring questions no one bothered to ask. When you left home to pursue college in Mumbai, I never thought that Mumbai would become your permanent residence. And I regret missing the opportunity to bond with you as a friend rather than a father. I always enjoyed my Mumbai visits. You were always thoughtful and caring and made sure I enjoyed my stay. I always worried about you being alone, and I wish now more than ever that I had persuaded you to come stay with us. Simple and reserved by nature, you were my first, and our memories together will always be my biggest treasure. I would also like to thank each and every one of you who were the family for him in Mumbai. You ensured that he had a loving and caring family here. Thank you. So his siblings, he has 3 siblings. He's the oldest, so he has a younger brother and 2 younger sisters. The eldest among us and the most intelligent. We always looked up to you. Your love of books made it easy for us to pick up books as well. Love of sports was also something that we picked up from you. You were the one who led the charge towards finding innovative ways to play sports at home, converting the dining table into a makeshift tennis table, badminton with makeshift nets, and cricket with resized boundaries in the house. Your laugh was infectious. Your ability to laugh without fear or censure could light up any room, and your perpetual smile made everyone around you feel warm and loved. You were the first among us, and that's what you will always remain. Yeah, that was my dad. When I heard that he passed away, I couldn't believe it. My mom had been calling for 45 minutes, and it was 6:30 a.m. And I couldn't believe it. I was shocked to the hadn't spoken to him in a while. He had messaged me on the Friday before and sent me a picture of someone performing, playing the guitar in his office lobby. And I've always loved music, and he would always send me little things that he saw that reminded him of me. He sent me, I've been really interested in coffee, and so he would always send me pictures of new coffee shops in Thakur Village, and pictures of people playing the guitar or anything, and it was really sweet. And I think I'm realizing a lot in the last 2 weeks that there's so much about him that I didn't know, and I'm glad that I have all of you to tell me his stories, and I'm so thankful and grateful for everyone here.
Thank you. And also very big special thanks to the school management and to Raghunathan Prabhu, who have taken so much effort and have been so particular about arranging everything over here. I'm sorry.
I wanted to do that.
Oh, it's actually your school, so please.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy and grateful that he had all of you as his family and friends. And I'd like to thank the management and trustees of Gopal's Garden for allowing us to have this program here. So many devotees stepped forward, like they always do, and were with him in his last moments and with us. Pitambar Gaurang Prabhu, Raghunathan Prabhu. Prabhuji said we are a heart family. It's more than that, and I don't have words to describe that. Raghunathan Prabhu and Pitambar Gaurang Prabhu were the first people to reach him at his home, because I think they were the closest. So really thank you for coordinating all those things, the policemen, the doctors, the going to the hospitals, the post-mortem. I'm very grateful that you were there to coordinate that. And also for your role over the next days after his passing, whether it was death certificate or it was cremation or it was any other event. I'm very, very grateful for that support. Thank you to Shri Prabhu for inviting us over and trying to lighten the mood for my children by sharing stories. He also invited Vipula. So many small and big acts of kindness, and I'm very grateful to everyone here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mother. And we'll have Jay and Nilo now, followed, and during that, should we do it Jay and Nilo first and then the offering, or together? Okay, we'll while Jay and Nilo is being sung, we'll also do the petal offering. So, and post that, there's Prashadam on the 3rd floor. So I'm going to repeat this. Prashadam on the 3rd floor. Please take your chappals and go down. And there's the hand wash is also on the 3rd floor.